Cycling through, back to Blizzaga. Oh, pull the counter twice out, but not gonna find it, and run off Shadow Ball will do the trick. At 0 is all of a sudden up to 78%, make it 90. Another roller doesn't find the mark this time, but a dash attack and forward tilt will only find shield.
Ooh, and now that might just be...
Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 2 of the Mountain West Conference. We have an amazing matchup here today for you. I am Zobi. I am joined by Nerdy Bird themselves, and we are covering University of Nevada, Reno versus Utah State University. And I mean, both of these squads, it's the beginning of the league, week 2, so I'm excited to see, what exactly they have working for them. Before we jump into discussing this matchup itself, we can go over their results from last week, which is that on the side of Utah State University, they 2-0'd against CSU, going 13-11 on Icebox and 13-10 on Ascent. And then very similarly, University of Nevada, Reno had a 2-0 where they went 13-9 on Ascent and 13-10 on Lotus. But Nerdy Bird, I'm hoping that you have a voice by this time. I think I've vamped it long enough. So how are you feeling this evening, and what do you make of these two teams?
So I'm excited. I mean, week 2, you can't really expect too many changes from week to week, but considering the records that both teams have currently, it's definitely going to set, what they'll anticipate later in the season from one another, if they're going to be seeking each other out as, rivals, so to speak, in the Mountain West space when it comes to Valorant. I mean, Mountain West as a whole, when it comes to esports, is not as big as some other collegiate conferences that do exist, so the odds of them competing again are very high. And if there is a LAN this year for the Mountain West Championship, perhaps they'll have to meet face to face and battle it all out over again.
Well, with the energy we had in the map pick bands chat and now in the lobby chat, I think this could be either like a friendly rivalry or something of that sort. But we do have the map picks and bands ready for you guys. And as you see, we're starting out on Icebox, Utah's pick, then jumping over to Lotus for Nevada. And if we make it all the way in this series, Split will be that decider. I have my whole kind of spiel about this map pool, Nerdy, but what are your initial knee-jerk reactions?
I mean, I'm an Icebox enjoyer. I have adored Icebox even before the changes took place, but this comes from the fact that I'm a Sage main and I just like to have lineups for A site and then B site. I mean, of course, you wall it. If you have a Viper, even better, because you can cut line of sight and then you walk in, you plant, and then you just camp your little heart out and pray that your crosshair placement is better than someone else's. So that's why I enjoy Icebox. Lotus, I still don't like it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the 3-point maps. There's only 2 that exist. Unfortunately, we don't get to see Haven, so I'll settle with Lotus. It's just, even though it's been changed, I still have PTSD, so to speak, from how loud the doors used to be, because they would spook me. Even though I'm I'm not even near it, and I just hear it go off. I'm like, what the heck is happening when that map first dropped? So it's still just in the back of my mind. I have a bad feeling about it.
I am excited for Lotus, especially because one of these teams likes to bring a Gecko into the mix. But for these two maps specifically, I really like them because for Icebox, right, we saw one team play it last week, and then for Lotus, we saw the other team play that one. So they both get their kind of map pick, and then Split is that we haven't seen either team play it. But we are ready to jump into Icebox, and I hate to tell you, but if history repeats itself, Utah State University might not bring out the Sage. They went with that kind of untraditional composition. We'll see if they follow through on it and promise it to me. But we had Trem playing a Deadlock last week.
Oh, and you know my history as well with deadlocks as someone who's extremely arachnophobic. So let's
There it is.
see. There's the deadlock pick.
Oh,
Matching Vipers on both sides. Are we possibly going with double duelist from Reno? I mean, I like it. Just Reno, you know, that feast or famine agent. If you're not popping off, you're gonna be having a rough day. And Reno, you're the last one to have to lock in for your team. Are we going for it? Are we gonna have the Reyna? I'm getting teased.
I'm more excited for the no duelist composition for Utah State, right? We went from the potential double duelist, which, like you said, they might be teasing us, to the no duelist composition. And I know I was joking with the players in chat beforehand, saying please pick Gecko. I was talking more about Lotus, so I'm excited to see how it works out in this map. I think it will be good for replacing that harbor or that stage for the securement of plant on those B-side execs, but otherwise, the no duelist compositions have been working in VCT Americas. Why not the Mountain West Conference, right?
Double duelist has been very powerful. It's just some teams they believe personally, and I don't follow this belief just because I've seen how dominant double duelist has been, that on defense you struggle more. And I'm like, no, the double duelist on defense is you push forward, you start early, very far forward, you force out util, you disengage, and then you can re-engage with more util. And then you just go on attack and you do the exact same thing. And so long as you time things properly with your squad, it's great.
Yeah. My only concern, right, is that they did change their composition on the side of Utah State University just a bit from last week. And it is early in the season, like we mentioned. It's time to work out those quirks to see what works for you. But they won the map, right, last week. So if they're trying to reinvent something that worked for them, I am worried that could kind of bite them now and going into this week against Nevada Reno. But then again, maybe they'll find perfection in this no duelist composition. Regardless, though, we kind of glossed over this, but Utah State University will be starting out on the attack. So we'll see the true, I guess, repercussions or how they leverage no duelist on entry into these sites versus University of Nevada Reno will be starting out on the defense.
Lots of ghosts being purchased for UNR. Currently USU, only one person going ghost, everyone else classics and half shields. I think it's kind of pick your poison. We do have one sheriff, so Jet, are you gonna pop off or are you going to get popped? As it looks like we're gonna be pushing towards B site first.
Yeah, but nobody really home. A very passive approach here from the Nevada Reno Viper, playing more towards mid here. Going to wait for these early rotations from the rest of their squad to come through. So, I mean, there's not going to be much issues for a duelist having to enter into this site when nobody's there to contest, but it'll be interesting to see how that initiator util fares when the retake from Nevada Reno comes through. But for now, waiting out that Viper utility. It comes through the net to secure the plant. Hopefully for a little smooth. They're waiting for that retaliation and it's not coming. There it is.
Little Smoot finally sends out Wingman to get this plant in the corner, but Wingman is eliminated. My hope and hero's gone. Just exchange fire. Some util's been dumped, but no one's been even touched. No splinters or paper cuts to speak for anybody just yet, but the spike is out in the open in a scary spot. And it looks like Tram's gonna be the one to risk it, grabs it, and goes for the plants.
Yes, and this time it will go through a lot of that utility getting invested, but not before Zanzi is able to steal a frag away. And like I said, it'll be a question of how long they can hold on in this post plant. Plenty of utility. The Dizzy out here, no response, no swing off of it as Zanzi just advances here, clearing out player after player. This time, AXKZ the victim, and with Axe Shredder side by side, they just shut down these players. Little Smoot tries to wrestle back what they can, but it's not enough, and the first round goes in favor of Nevada Reno.
There was the initial touch fake on the defuse, and then they just decided, you know what, we're gonna push forward. They didn't dump util just yet. You saw the Dizzy, you mentioned it. No one swung after Dizzy went out, or even when Dizzy was going forward. I mean, no one ended up getting dizzied, so unfortunately it was kind of a slight waste, and it was just tragic to see the pop swing out from yellow 2-on-1, and you just know that with the classic at that range, you're in trouble.
I know, completely. And now we get to see, I feel like the more creative buy-up coming out from University of Nevada Reno, mainly the two outlaws. I feel like this, or is it a marshal? It's so hard to tell sometimes.
Those were outlaws.
They both were good. I mean, I feel like this is one of the maps that we have seen the outlaw get picked up a lot more than normal, just because of, the capabilities they have to hold down an ace-like defense, especially when you have this double duelist. And it is going to get its trial here and the delivery, the final sentencing onto Sprite Float to find that first blood, and they recover it safely. And you think you're safe, right? But then here's the Reno as well, sporting an outlaw, setting up this high-low game. So you can see USU knows it's close for business today.
Yeah, choosing not to risk it for that biscuit. I mean, I don't blame them. However, the
Ooh.
swing, Zanzi finds the head. We're gonna grab the ult orb. That's Lil Smoot. Still has wingman. I'm not sure if Lil Smoot is. Yes, they are our spike carrier as well, but USU is hurting a little bit. Three agents still alive and going into 5, and Zanzi is undeterred by the fact that there's people encroaching on their zone currently. They do get 0-point knife, but I don't think it's gun. Yeah, they didn't pick anyone up with the 0 point, unfortunately.
Yeah, Wingman once again not fulfilling their mission here. Spike down, and with that toxic screen falling as well, these outlaws are in full season. But Semu says, I got a deagle in my back pocket as well. Don't need the outlaw to frag out. And AXKZ in the 1v5 situation. Only that Paper X Classic to try and get these frags. And while they get the head dink, they don't get the frag. And a flawless 2-0 here for UNR.
Unfortunately, USU most likely was seeking to create that round to be as expensive as possible. Don't think they did a marginal amount of damage, considering we still have half shields on 3 members currently for UNR. However, we've got buy-ups now for USU. They did a nice job saving. It's good to see teams not going for the force buy when they don't have to. Now's the opportunity to start pulling this momentum back in their favor. My worry still comes down to these double duelists, both holding outlaws starting forward. Will we see initial picks out the gate again?
Well, I mean, it's only the deadlock, and they look like they're going more on that defensive approach. Sonic Sensor to cut off any initial aggression, any eco or bonus strategy that might come out from UNR. But we've seen Zanzi in this position. This time, though, no utility to lean back into. It's going to be only this hero rifle to depend on. I mean, it hit last round. We'll see if it can against the full buy for USU. And nope, it's just a 1-for-1 trade. As I mean, you'd think site control would be conceded, but the rotation from UNR, and I mean, I'd say the site hold is just as strong.
What's interesting is that 0 point, they identified where Viper was, but Viper bought enough time because no one started to push into Viper. They're most likely concerned that other people were in the area and decided not to be too risky regarding pushing in. But now that rotation and then the immediate rotation back onto A site, they might be able to push in. However, Jet found one. There was a trade from Tram there after. We're 3v3. Spike is in our hands. However, the rotation's already to the back of site for the defense.
Yeah, but I love the usage of this deadlock as kind of the entry force when you don't have a duelist. We saw it from Jogamo on the Evil Geniuses game, and now we're seeing it from Tram here in the Mountain West Conference. I mean, these sonic sensors, when aggressively utilized, clear these angles, and you can swing off of it if they are triggered. I mean, fortunately this time around, nobody biting, as you said, that backside control instead being held by UNR, and now it looks like it's just post-plant protocols for USU.
You can get lineup opportunities coming from your Viper, and you have control thanks to Deadlock. You can use 0 point to come back in if you have to. We do have flash opportunities, but we have Tram exchanging with Blobster, gets taken down. McWirt will find the Reyna. I apologize, that name is a mouthful for me to say on the fly. We're in 2v2, and we hear Spike going off.
It's halved. Oh, but McWirt able to get a frag off of the half. My only concern here is that they might not think it's halved here. Swing coming in late. Turret doesn't deter McWirt, and they get them right before the defusal is finished. While they will die to the spike, they die a hero as the first round for Utah State is added to the board. But, I mean, Nerdy, that's an expensive round.
It's painful to see people dying on the spike. It was worth it. You did get the round win in your favor, but the economy getting broken in that instance is not ideal. Your bank account's looking like mine is never what you want to experience because UNR, they're healthy enough that they're willing to force buy these weapons. We do have one instance of a full shield coming out, but USU, they're going on the back foot, having to save again. Maybe the fact that there's 3 half shields for UNR will be beneficial to the fact that we've got nothing but sidearms coming out.
You know, I mean, that means your Deagle with that 145 will get the job done here, but they gotta get through these Vandals first, and there it is, right? Tram, they get the headshot, they get the frag off the wallbang too, so Light Shield definitely coming in to favor there. Trying to take aggressive space here, trying to protect Wingman on their expedition, and again, Wingman denied, this time by the Snake Bite. KJ nade combo tap coming through as well to expend more utility And I mean, at this point, there's the entire force for Nevada Reno here on the B site, and I would be looking towards a rotation, but we'll see if USC follows suit.
We do have the jet for UNR currently rotating as well, anticipating that possible rotation. It's 50-50 shot as we have a 2-on-1. Reyna gets the pick, gets the dismiss.
Ooh, they were able to recollect Wingman, yeah, and this time, Wingman comes in for the plant, and suddenly time in favor of USU, but the frag's clearly not until Sprite Float pulls one back after McWirt falls. So 3-on-3 here, the tap triggers the thrash, and that's gonna allow the Raider to push up a little bit deeper, but Sprite Float on top of that, taking care of these lower HP players, but then again, Little Smoot in the 1v2, the perfect bait while the stick comes through by Zanzi, and just like that, UNR denies the eco, or the bonus round for USU and pull ahead on to 3.
They did manage to pick back up the op, which is always lovely. Your teammate now owes you a free weapon, and if they refuse, you used to request the op back kindly. However, USU did successfully make that round somewhat expensive. If you look at the bank accounts now, they're not as healthy as they once were for UNR. However, this is a risking it type situation for USU. You are wanting to buy. They have purchased, but if they don't win this round, we're going into the 2008 recessions.
I mean, aren't we in a recession now? We'll call it the 2024 one. But this time, Samu not on the A side, reading that, USU likes this B main, and they're even gonna catch Tram off guard. Like we said, them being that kind of entry force, clearing the way with the barrier mesh with the sonic sensors. It's gonna be a huge deficit here for Utah State. So I'm gonna be leaning into these lurk players like Sprite Float here, who's trying to open up other portions of the map, but even then, Reyna's aware of it. Samu adds another frag, and I mean, luckily, McWirt gets a clean frag to punish that overzealousness. And they get an ult command out of it as well. So we'll see what that's able to achieve on this A rotation. But I would say the push-ups of the aggression from UNR have been clean. I almost saw the Sova there to contest, but they'd rather play back, it seems like, with their Reyna.
Shredder has heard the footsteps. Tries to use the owl drone. Null command is instigated. Everyone's being forced to the back of sight. Oh, they're still together, and they might be able to... Never mind. I'm sorry, McWirt. I cursed you.
Oh, well, I mean, you might have blessed them here. The 4K and on par for an ace, and, I mean, 4 bullets gets the reload. They don't recognize it. They still are able to find it. I mean, the lucky bullet finds its headshots, and that's one way to put Utah State right back into this.
Still somewhat expensive, not as painful as we saw previously. They are only going to have the Deadlock ult online. UNR looking at Viper's Pit, Empress, Bladestorm all ready to go. Jet is choosing to stick with the classic and full shields. Most likely we're seeing Bladestorm come out this round. It's just you gotta get multi-picks here and help your team get some free weapons.
I think they're going to go for this fast flank as well, right? Versus this A-main pressure. They're going to try and crunch the members of Utah State. I mean, they might catch McWirt off guard here as well. The perfect timing, but the miss, the whiff of the first knife, and off of that, the strategy comes crumbling down, specifically off of the frags of Tram there. They don't clear out Nest just yet, so Blobster in a position to be the hero, but even then, the Reyna really can't reinforce them, so they're gonna flee back towards A, go for these rotations, and this B retake, but look where McWirt is, Nerdy.
Oh, playing like a rat. I respect it.
The fact that they go to having their back turned to a Bladestorm to then getting that 2K to close out the round is wild. And so now we're tied 3-3, right?
The pendulum swing has occurred. UNR, you're risking it now. I understand you have to win this. It's just, I'm hoping this op doesn't get punished too soon. Unfortunately, last time the op was brought out, taken out by a Guardian. We're going to use the 0-point knife and push in towards B site. Perhaps USU has learned their lesson and will recognize if we get the 0 point, we recognize there's people there, we gotta push. And the initial shot from the op is going to whiff. Presence detected, most likely for both the people stacked over here on yellow, but we're choosing to go slow.
McWhort has no fear for this operator, right? They almost died sending that 0 point out, but are re-challenging here, gonna try and take it out of the round sooner rather than later. Not quite sure if they saw the barrel of the gun, but we're holding the correct angle, and I mean, I feel like they could go for a late round flank if they wanted to, but rotation back through spawn, back towards A, where Spike is now being sent in alongside Wingman, and again, this spray just doesn't allow them to secure their mission here.
We heard Empress get procced as well. They're just spray firing through the wall. It didn't really get any. Yeah, they forced up the util. They heard the Empress and they're like, nah, fam, let's back off. I don't want this site that bad.
I mean, we saw UNR give up so much space on B, specifically that rotation from Samu, but somehow the IGL is called back to the B site. A nice ultimate here, though, the Viper's Pit that you mentioned expended, and I feel like USU might be regretting that decision here now. I mean, yes, you have the Annihilation, which I think could definitely clear out Zanzi in this situation. I mean, it's a more refined area that you have to narrow yourself down to, but they did have this backdoor option of Sprite Float. They never left the A site. Add that for Tram in this Lurk Up Kitchen, and they might be able to get some picks before the spike gets planted. Then again, 10 seconds left.
Someone's got to do something. We hear Wingman going for the plant. Unfortunately, unsuccessful. There's nothing. Yeah, we are out of time. It takes 4. Whoa. All right, Tram, I see you. What? Okay. Oh. Exit frag. We'll take it.
Yeah, exit frags. We take them. I mean, unfortunately not able to get the operator wrestled away, which means they'll be able to tape that as a part of the defensive strategy. I liked the ideas from USU, right? But they were evenly matched by UNR, and that time factor was just not on their side. And I Lil Smoot, I love Wingman, and I have full faith in Wingman, but when there is less than 10 seconds left on the clock, you have a little bit more HP than your Wingman and might want to just go for the plant yourself when the round result hinges upon it.
Perhaps another near-death experience for our poor KO to throw out the 0 point. Tailwind is instigated, just staring down the doorway, looking for their... Oh!
Great Dizzy. Fortunately, Poison Cloud makes a safe recovery off the Tailwind. It's reposition here on yellow, but Flashpoint allows the aggression from McWhort. They're full blind, the shots don't connect. Suddenly that's the operator down. Barrier mesh as well, keeping control of this site. It's going to be Zanzi and KJ relied on here again for this spike denial utility, Snakebite Swarm Grenade. And they've even bought enough time for the Reyna. So these over-rotations have been on point, I would say, from UNR.
We're kind of stuck in a stalemate right now. If we send Wingman out, you might be able to force a little bit of extra util, but I'm not positive if he'll survive, as we see Viper's Pit, Swarm Grenades both used, and Wingman saying, Gecko, please come save me. Reyna uses the Leer, instantaneously popped. We still have the Deadlock ult. KJ also oh, there it is. Did it pick anybody up? Oh, God. At least I'm not in first person. Gets saved, but gets knocked immediately by McWhort with that operator.
Ooh, and I love the response. The null command out, so no more utility to deny this. Plant Sprite Float as well punishes Axel Shredder, who was trying to get the spray from Nest, and suddenly all frags coming up USU, but the Lobster going nuclear here, able to drop McWhort, is in the 3v1 technically here, but even then, here comes the lift up, the pick me up. Nice bait from Lil Smoot, and they get the frag, they get the round, they get the KO back up, so a very stable economy going to be established here as we tie things again at 4-4. They're gonna keep the op.
So, I'm looking at these ultimates. USU, KJ, we have lockdown online, but the others, the Sova for UNR is looking at you like, all right, who's gonna pop their ult first and basically make it so one of us gets away out, it gets to actually use theirs.
Alright, and I also want to point out this McWhort operator, right? You might be like, KO opping, question mark? But the roles have been completely scrambled from Utah State. Last week, McWhort was playing the Jet on this map, so you know they know their way around this weapon, and with the recon bolt out here for Axel Shredder, I thought they could get the opportunity if they wanted to send it deeper on the belt, but for now, just gonna be the Thrash to gather information to get the entry into this site, and this toxic screen is concealing a horror that Tram is gonna be on top of handling. Like I said, they've been the entry force here, and the spike plant denied by the Hunter's Fury. The members as well scrambled in these positions. Here comes the re-entry from Samu. This time, no operator, so let's get in the fight full swing. So denies Tram the recollection of the spike, and here comes that lockdown as well you mentioned.
I mean, Hunter's Fury was used, so why not? We tried to reinstigate Thrasher. Thrasher, unfortunately, is gonna get destroyed.
Look at the response. I mean, right? It's another lockdown this time from the defenders for this retake. We'll see. Lil Smooch should be able to make it out here on jail, yeah, but position should be known, but it's planted for the operator, and now with this, you know, time not against their side, numbers not against their side. Fortunately, Zanzi still has the toxic screen to work with here, so we'll see if they can block the operator's prowess. The forward challenge as well.
It's just Zanzi left alive against 3 people. Even if you go for the spike defuse, I think...
Pros don't fake?
I mean, that's true. Those are the rules I abide by. Zanny, props to you for attempting to go for it. Are we gonna see anyone go down to the spike? I think Sprite has made it out. Everyone is safe. We still have the operator in hand. The question is, what is going to be spent this round coming from UNR? Looks like we're going for a full save, except for Jet. Jet is committing.
Okay, your rifle. I like to see it. I mean, you saw Zanzi there. Even if they couldn't get the spike defuse, they wanted to get that operator out of McWhirt's hands. They kind of think it's probably like an opportunity cost kind of buy, where they wouldn't buy it again if they had the choice. It was more because they picked it up off of the Jet. But for now, a little bit change of strategy, right? The bait to try and destroy the 0 point, while that hero rifle from Samu is aggressing, but doesn't quite connect here. Oh, the Dizzy's out of contention as well, landing on top of the box, so won't have protection here for the wingman, but won't need protection if you can just drop the members on site like Tram has for finding Samu. And fortunately, Zanzi able to collect that hero rifle, so not going to be too much worse for wear in terms of the weapons that they did bring into this eco attempt.
I think Samu Arden does still have our wingman online, deciding not to use it just yet, but someone's waiting for any amount of util. The wall goes up. There goes the wingman. There is still util there. He is not gonna survive. Stop punishing this poor creature.
I know, he just wants to plant the spike, guys. You can defuse it after, but for now comes the retaliation utility from Utah State. I want to see this kind of used earlier, right? Use a fragment, use something so they cannot get these mollies in place, but what is in place is the shots here from the Marshall. Headshot to delete McWhirt. Tram retaliating, though. They are going to be this kind of forward pushing force, but finally the trade comes through. This Marshall has been dealing haymakers, so Axel Strider will add to that tally, and the 2v1 on the line, you'd think it'd be feasible. Luckily, they're going to get the spike down. I was concerned about the time factor. Oh, please don't swing this. Oh, they swung it.
Don't. You just play time. Please.
Yeah.
Oh,
you have the 2 like strongest post-plant agents in the game right now, and you have AXKZ posted up with an operator. Like, you did not have to be swinging this. Let's see whose reaction time is faster. And the answer is not only the operator, the bigger weapon, but AXKZ coming out on top. Utah State University confirms at least a tied half, and I feel like this will be a good time for a Gunnar timeout, just so they can lock down these last 2 rounds.
Well, we'll see if they decide.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. I don't get that vibe from these teams.
I don't either. And also, the one thing I want to point out is, yes, while we're seeing Wingman take a lot of suffering, it is forcing a lot of controlling util from UNR early on. When they hear Wingman, we're seeing either Poison Orb getting activated, Poison Orb in conjunction with the Snakebite, or even a Nano Swarm on the ground getting popped too. So they're forcing util without having to even use bullets. It's great. It hurts my heart, but it works.
No, completely. You'd rather it be the wingman than, you know, a member on your team getting their HP shredded when there's no heals on the table. But start to this round is Samu getting shredded by the operator. I want to say the raid position is confirmed as well. The Mosh to follow the grab net is a beautiful combination to force the fight from Sprite Float. So that's a sight and numbers advantage. Tram almost overextending here to try and shut down that utility like the shock darts, but Wingman this time comes out on top, gets the plant down to the team, and now they have a really good post-plant strategy from Tram with his Annihilation, but Tram has other plans. Like I said, they want to be the duelist for this team. They want to take these exchanges, just like Little Smooth does. They don't want any weapons getting saved here. I mean, they're on the other side of the barrier mesh, might as well.
Buddy, it's over.
Oh, sorry, little buddy, it's over.
All right, Empress in comparison to Viper's Pit, which one do you think could counteract stronger in this instance? Like, you know, you use Viper's Pit, you lock the whole entire site down, you get the spike planted. Empress, you pop it, you walk in, what do you think?
Well, considering the Empress is on the wrong side of the map currently, I'm gonna have to go with the Viper's Pit. In addition to that, right, if you hear an Empress, you would assume it's closer to the site, so you pop the Annihilation immediately, and that's a pretty good counter if you can find Reno on the other side of it. But for now, I was gonna praise Semawu for this aggressive push, but I mean, USU's been so good at denying these aggro plays that you have to go for on the defense when you have this double duelist. So the perfect counter here, but Semawu not afraid of this operator any of these rounds. They were about to re-swing it here, but probably told otherwise. They're like, you've died how many times, Semawu? Don't re-swing it.
Look, you take a body shot from an op, a headshot from a vandal, you're dead either way, so why not? It might be the theory that Samu is working with. Low to high ground, uses the tailwind, gets out.
Why not?
The Annihilation did go off, though! Are they going to be able to save Samu?
I cannot tell. I don't think they did. No, it goes around pipes there. I thought it was gonna get trapped like we've seen from these ults, but it's just ult for ult, and one after another. It's the last round of the half. Might as well invest it. Little Smoot finds Axel Shredder, not punished either for going for their known location. XKZ don't know about the option to play this forward, but they get the frag, they get out unscathed. Again, no punishment coming out from the side of Nevada Reno. And the backstab as well, coming down from the Reyna is adequately handled. Zanzi, the 1v3, is detained. And that is one way to end the half with an 8-4 advantage for Utah State.
Okay, so we saw Empress, we also saw Viper's Pit, Annihilation, and two Thrashers.
Why not?
I mean, spend it all.
I never thought I'd see like a kamikaze Annihilation in similar fashion to like a showstopper, but that's basically what we saw for them to get Samawu the first blood in that last round. So you know, hat off to Tram for giving their life away for that frag. It kind of did give the site control away a little bit early, so that allowed the pit to go up safely and secure the round. But 8-4, right? I mean, University of Nevada Reno started out on the forefront, right? When they were up 3-1, and then it just kind of fell apart. We almost saw 8 rounds in a row from the Utah State University. So many U's. And they just haven't been able to stop that momentum since. So I hope that now that they have the double duelist and are on the side that favors that composition, they'll be able to find frags. But again, these solo plays that are coming out from players, I'm afraid that USG is going to be able to punish them adequately.
I think really it came down to once USU had enough money to buy the utility that they wanted to make the plays that they needed, they became absolutely power hungry. Oh, okay, little Smoot.
Speaking of power hungry.
I don't understand how you found this engagement, but Dizzy went off, you had the opportunity, but Blobster might be in hot waters. There's 0 point knifed, and there's a Dizzy. They're managing to avoid it, thankfully. It's just a question of who's going to swing this aggressively. It's Gecko first, so Blobster, you're spotted out. Possible 2v1 swing from KO and Gecko here. So we see just spray fire at boxes with no hit indicators. I
actually like Blobster fighting this because they don't want Little Smoot to recollect that Dizzy, right? That's the advantage of this Gecko, is that you can consistently cycle that utility. And with this Toxic Screen coming up, they, I think, could have gotten the recollection here. You see the Reyna trying to be that lurk player as well, but with back not turn, a punish as well from Tram, not connecting. It's going to actually be a 4-on-3 because we do see the Reyna find the frag onto the Gecko.
Remember, USU did not find a lot of success during these early pistol rounds. They take their time to build up. They don't treat it as a sprint. Granted, it could be a little risky doing that, but McWhort with the Ghost. Is this going to be enough? The Poison Orb to provide cover just outside of yellow. We hear the defuse started. Sprite goes down for the cause. There's a trade, but Blobster takes out McWhort, and the attackers will find the kill on Spike.
That's so clean, and it kind of looked like the counter plant measure that came out from Tram was stalling out the defuse in that regard later in the round. So I'm sure they'll get a little bit of an earful from the team about, you know, placing that a little bit more intelligently, especially on a round like a pistol or now this eco where they won't have the weapons to break it as efficiently. And, I mean, a great way for UNR to get that momentum started that I knew that they needed. Then again, there were some gamble plays, specifically I want to say out of this Reyna. I mean, they started out mid, right? Taking that exchange kitchen, didn't find it. Then they went to lurk A, and fortunately found the frag on a little smooth. If they didn't, then I feel like that exec onto B would have been weaker. But regardless, this time around, Samu is the one to steal the Duelist Thunder, finds the first blood onto Lil Smoot, and it's just full steam ahead. But what is this?
I mean, they're right now USU is just looking to make this as expensive as possible. So I mean, walking in with the with a Bucky and just one-tapping someone, I respect that you got the trade, but was it worth it considering you're already down 1 and now Zanzi's popping off? I don't know if it was worth it.
Ooh, and Tram, I mean, low HP, no weapon to their name. Trying to get some utility out, but no, that's shut down. We're only 2 rounds now separating, and with the Guardian, you know, gang here assembled, we're not, I was gonna say, Axe Shredder, are you actually gonna force up a gun? I could see the chances if they force up that weapon of a conversion here, and that could be huge for UNR. Yes, it would be a gamble, but if executed or followed through upon, we'll see what these Guardians and I guess these Deagles can do against this full Vandal squad.
Look, Rena's a feast or famine type agent anyway. You're top of your team with eliminations. I have faith in your ability to find something as the Guardian connects on McWort. There's one, unfortunately, Little Smoot. Therefore, after takes out Arsova.
I mean, that was the second round in a row that Samu was able to get that first blood on one of those initiators, those important agents here for holding down the A site. But fear not, even if they don't have McWort, they have Tram, right? They were able to get a second frag here for USU, able to deny entry into this A site. I need to see some noise generation or something from these agents over towards B so that the entry can come in from Samu. But they seem aware of the sonic sensor as well.
Progressing very quiet and cautiously. Haven't been spotted out yet. Lurking, but if the person on their right decides to start pressing forward and holding that shift button down, we might see Samu go down very early to Lil Smoot, who's in turn lurking. We're in a deadlock between these two. We have 4 still alive for USU, and it looks like the commitment over towards A side has happened, but we have 2
they heard it, yeah.
on B.
They heard the passive here, so Lil Smoot swings, gets spiked down on 410, but ultimately gets traded, but it's enough of an indication for the rest of the members for Utah State to rotate to now their fallen comrades A to ensure the site plan doesn't occur. GravNet, perfect bait for Sprite Float. They know exactly where Lobster is, and it's Tram again to be the closer of rounds, and a very important one at that for USU to right their wrongs. As you've put it, they get out of that 2-round initial start to a half and come back, right?
They've got a 3-round advantage. We see the Outlaw coming out for them as well. Unfortunately, on being unable to parlay the Guardians into better weaponry, we do see UNR choosing all to full buy. A couple will be broke if this round is unsuccessful. Let's see what ends up happening. A little Smoot, though, also looking...
That is true. I mean, that's what you get for these, I guess, ego or these heavy pushes or these heavy anchors. I mean, they've been that first line of defense, whether they're on the aggressive, they're A main, or if they are that solo player remaining on the A site. I do like these off-angle positions, mainly from the KO from McWort on screens. I mean, we saw it tried by UNR unsuccessfully last half, so we'll see if they find a better situation. And it seems like no, they're forced to retreat off the Outlaw. And, I mean, KJ on KJ violence, it must end, but this time around, Sprite Float comes away with the frag, so Kitchen kept under their dominion. And, I mean, it's enough, though, for the plant now to come through on the A side. I want to see this thrash. I want to see the reaction, the re-entry from Utah State off of it as well. And here it comes, question mark, yes, there it is.
Monster is out. Has not spotted anybody. Finally sees 2, but Tram gets eliminated while we're looking through Thrasher's eyes. Screen goes down. That's 1 elimination, but a trade there after 3v2, but 2 members of UNR dangerously low. If this Reyna does have heals still, they might be able to make it out alive or get intel with a dismiss and an elimination. Soviet Util's not coming through.
Wingman! And they can't even get their wingman back. Lil Smoot forced to flee, forced to save that weapon. And I mean, you talked about the Reno being low HP, but they're the only survivor here for University of Nevada, Reno. And I mean, expensive round for both sides, obviously. I mean, I don't even know who really I would say comes out on top, right? That's your 4th round. That's when your rifles versus rifles. So you can see the repercussions here. I mean, whoever loses this round gonna be pretty broke going into the next. I mean, UNR are a little bit better just because those initial 2 rounds won, but I mean, it looks like Samu might actually be going for the blades this round. The shorty full shield buy, the aggression towards B main, towards that early and easier orb to collect, and there it is, the correct read. And my question is, do they double down? Do they go aggressive into this B site? I mean, I know the KO plays A, so the 0 point shouldn't be an issue. No command not available either. Question is, are any fights going to be given to them by USU? Oh, yeah, they are.
As you mentioned, it little Smook rounds the corner and Samu decides to annihilate them. We have Viper's Pit also engaged. I liked the patience that we just saw from Samu because they're like, wait, I might get 0 pointed on the off chance the KO is here, and just waited it out. Was like, okay, it's been 4 seconds, I go in, gets the elimination. We're now secured point. We're finally getting the plant online. We just see the grab net has come out. Tram finds the elimination onto Sova.
Great punish off the annihilation. It doesn't find its victim either. Fortunately, Sprite Float, good for the trade, keeps things here in a 2v3, keeps at least a chance for this squad, especially as McWirt finds Samu over-aggressing on top of the Viper's Pit from yellow. Sprite Float creeping their way in here. I mean, I want to see what the Zanzi utility situation looks like here, because obviously we don't have too much utility from the rest. They actually drop the pit and get that 2K. That's one way when you don't have too much post-plant utility to work with. Clearly unexpected from Utah State, and suddenly only 1 round separates these squads.
The double kill right as the Viper's Pit went down was gorgeous.
Very
I love it.
transfer.
Okay, so UNR, you have the Empress. I wanna see some beautiful play coming out from my queen, Reno. I mean, I will always stand Fade, but Reyna's a close second. And we also have the command null from KO. I'm wondering, are we going to use this as an engagement tool or as a retake opportunity, which we did see during the first half of this map?
I like it as a retake tool in my mind, but they might not even get as far as a retake based on this aggressive eco strategy. I mean, Tram does steal the first blood away. Zanzi trying to deny the weapon upgrade alongside Axel Shredder, but Little Snoot's utility not landing in time costs them their life here, and yeah, I mean, USU has to just cut their losses. Can't get the weapon from the Reyna. I think they're throwing it out of the map too, yeah.
That's
so
smart.
won't even, yeah, they can't even get it. I think they just did. I'm pretty sure that's what they did. Why else would have 2 members have walked all the way to the edge? Thank you, Observer.
Yes,
yeah, there it is. It's gone. It's gone. Great
they grabbed it and
context.
said, nope.
All right, and I mean, you can see as well, I mean, that Jet lurks to just check to make sure that they don't go for that weapon. I kind of love that little detail from UNR. As the real effort comes to B, the rotation is correct from USU, but I don't think they have the weapons or utility to hold on to this site in my mind, and the no command investment here would be a little dicey. I agree with this assessment. I liked the late Viper's Wall we also had come out from UNR. They're just playing very meticulously, though you would assume off the rip, having double duelists, you're trying to take space, force util, slow down a little bit, but then continue to encroach on territory. They're not doing that. They're playing mind games, and I love it. We do have a target detected using that the sound detector, and Shredder, unfortunately, is going to go down to Tram. Will we get anyone with this? Molly? I don't think so. It's my time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They don't want to get the plant. And I believe that there was just enough time here, so
there was 6 seconds.
Yeah, getting planted. A 1v3 now with the Marshal in hand, and there's a member above them, a member below them, and blobs are going around the back of sight. And while it was a valiant effort, I would say, from USU there, even the late round null command to try and bide on that timer, it ultimately is a lost one nonetheless. We're tied 9-9 and back to buys for both teams.
Okay, that hurt my soul just a little bit because it was like the anti-caster curse of you're saying I don't think the null command here is a good investment, and I agreed with the analysis, and then you know McWirt says no, both of you are wrong, and then unfortunately, I mean, if you're just getting suppressed, are you honestly like 6 seconds left? Might as well go for the plant at this point, and it worked out.
Yeah, no. If that fragment had been like a second later, I think they wouldn't have been able to get the plant down. But ultimately, as we jump into the next round, I mean, Sambu been lethal with these first bloods. Cannot wait to see it after the map concludes. And after they get the frag, they show no signs of stopping here. Tram has been the one that shuts them down, but without their grab net landing, it's a 1-for-1 trade for Samu that they will take advantage of. They keep numbers in their favor by 1, but Lil Smoot quickly wrestles that back. But I mean, they basically trade their life away regardless. 10 HP left here. Gonna have to relinquish themselves to the back lines here, be that utility force for their team. And I mean, UNR not confident in the situation there. Actually gonna invest the lockdown just to ensure that this round doesn't slip away.
Zanzi is staying very close to the spike, trying to make sure no one gets in. Samu gets one,
no.
Zanzi with another. One is detained, and all I gotta say is best of luck.
Now you can't even... That was a really clean 4K from Samu, right? I mean, not only do they get the entry frags, not only are they able to help punish those who were fleeing through screens, but just very, very well handled, I feel like, and navigation of that A site on an attack and an execution. And now, going to the next round, I mean, I'm expecting to see a very similar strategy because they have that Hunter's Fury online to strengthen the post plan. But we finally are going to see a timeout from one of these two teams. It comes actually from McWhirter on the side of Utah State University. So, Dirty, what are they talking about? We've been in this back and forth game round after round. What will break the spell?
Honestly, I think it's coach probably popping in and being like saying, "Hey, you guys, like both these teams are extremely strong. It's just any moment for gamers when you get stressed, sometimes you start making bad decisions. End all be all, we lose this map, not the end of the world. We lose this match, also not the end of the world. However, you can still be successful. We just need to make smart decisions. What are we willing to pay in these instances to force out what from the enemy team? We're getting a lot of trades, but we're not finding clean eliminations. I'm seeing a lack of coordination when it comes to swinging angles together. Even when they know that someone is there, it is 100% reliant on your aim. But if you have a teammate with you, the odds of you living through that are astronomically increased. It's no longer a trade. It is a confirmed elimination. So hopefully we start seeing a little bit more of those commitments as a group rather than Gecko and Deadlock going forward and praying.
And I mean, that does kind of worry me because they were so clean on it, especially during those last 5 rounds. The previous half was that cohesion on those B-side execs is what gave them rounds. But I mean, even as the timeout comes to a close, I mean, history repeats itself, right? Samu finds that solo playing individual, this time McWhirter, and first bloods them. Regardless, though, this time, no lurking jet over towards the A site. The rotation, look, they're going to try and use a power friendship, but they misread it this time, right? 3 members from in kitchen for USU. So an open B site. Yes, and Killjoy utility to hopefully buy time off of the plant. There it is. But even then, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a rotation back.
Lights
they like
out.
mind games.
Yeah, they're meticulous, but one thing I want to point out is this Viper consistently, when they pick the site they want to go to here on offense, they wall late. They hang on to it. Yeah. They're not one that's going to sell it for their team, so to speak, and put the wall down before our invisible barrier even drops, but it is an indicator of where they're going to end up going. So instead of rotating early when we hear minor util, perhaps waiting for the wall is beneficial as we see Lil Smoot go down. Wall finally also is going to retreat for a bit. Samu staying around the middle. Uses a lot of blades. We get the plant confirmed. 2 protecting our president as the grab net goes down.
He caught 3. But the snake bite doesn't land. And so what could have been a very clean triple off that joint utility usage misses its shots. Now they're forced to lean into these hero plays like Tram with their deagle shots. The tap to bait out utility. The Bucky able to punish 1, but Blobster just spraying through that poison cloud with the Phantom trumps them all and gets that 11th round for University of Nevada, Reno. I mean, I saw promise there from USU, but UNR, I mean, their forward playing aggression there to challenge when they knew USU was going to be leaning into this denial utility was just insane.
I mean, what do you do against that in that instance? I mean, I think they kind of knew once the tempo from UNR had changed slightly in that round, they knew their OG plan wasn't going to work. Perhaps we see a drastic change coming out from USU here on defense. We do still have... Actually, we do. Gecko is starting with Deadlock on A site, as opposed to our KO, who's locking down mid with KJ.
And, I mean, there's going to be a battle for mid here, a 1-for-1 trade coming out. I'm glad the KJ remains alive because that's your mid luck down still. in play. Samu, though, again, trying to cause chaos here. This time getting punished through this toxic screen. Forced to relinquish 410 control. And now even divided from their squad because of the barrier mesh. And this is where I don't want to see Tram solo swing. Stay backside, you're fine. Just wait for the reinforcements to arrive. Play your utility, which is what it looks like they're trying to do here. So, green flags in my mind right now for USU this round. No, that's a red flag! What did I just say?
A green flag instantly trumped by a red flag, unfortunately, and Blobster says all I see is greens currently. Gets the plant, is going to disengage, go for those post-plant lineouts, and we got the two strongest agents for post-plants right now. That's Viper and KJ. We do have another trade. Samu's gone. They took out Little Smoot in the process. We're 2v3. No, it's not!
I mean, they're just gonna stick it all the way. I mean, Zanzi gets through in time,
Why
but
not?
they miss the shots. The wallbang through the Radiant box is not connecting. And Utah State University, while they lose the members of their team, they get a very pivotal round there, only off of the usage of that lockdown from Sprite Float. And I mean, suddenly, what should have been a surefire map point for University of Nevada, Reno, puts us right back into this 1-for-1 game. I mean, that's look, they had 5 in a row for Nevada, Reno, and that's one round desperately needed.
Well, I'm still worried as, yes, USO, that was a pivotal moment for them. They're still not where they need to be. Okay, Thrasher's getting dedicated. Dizzy was out. They're aggressing.
Samu was past it. Like, Samu should be in a position to punish this. They're just trigger disciplining at this point. I mean, they know that 2 have passed. Yes, the flashpoint connects, but I don't even think Little Smoot realizes this. I think they wanted the KO to push out to get that frag as well. McWhirт, though, better. Stays on site, gets the frag as well. And while that triggered the re-rotation from UNR into the site, they didn't clear out Taram. So Zanzi asked to deliver upon that. And while the trades still follow, it's going to be a 2v3 retake for these last 2 members. And while these 2 agents are post-plant agents, they might not be the best retake agents. So we'll have to see.
Yet again, analysis I agree with. The spike is going down, getting plant. They used the swarm grenades to try and prevent it.
Marshall.
Axel risked it, is low on health, but at the end of the day, it's a resource. Neither team has any healing capabilities, so it's fine.
Yeah.
However, how are we going for retake here? We have Viper's Pit, but it's so risky considering there's Hunter's Fury that you just blast through on the spike. Like,
no, completely. And I mean, you have a Marshall and a Spectre, and no real weapons to collect. I think they're just gonna try and pros don't fake it here. And I mean, before Hunter's Fury can even get exhausted, Blobster takes their flare. So XKZ just forced to go for these eco frags, try and dent the economy from UNR, but Blobster denies any additional frags, gets the map point for their team. And I mean, as you can see, I don't think their economy is any worse for wear, Nerdy.
it is not. The USU's economy is not looking great. They even partial bought last round to try and vamp up the econ that they had, but they still needed to find a way to either get a weapon from someone else and survive, or, you know, actually come out on top of that round, and neither of those things happened. And we're at this point where we're gonna force it as much as we can because we have no other choice. This is make it or break it time. Instant, we have Viper Spit coming out from AXKZ over here in the B-site corridor, trying to lock it down, and there's a lot of people outside that pit.
No, McWhirr! No, McWhirr, they're chasing you! Why aren't you turning around and shooting them? Your gun works, I promise! And I think this is just the beginning of the end, Nerdy. I feel like McWhirr, they've been first spotted time and time by Samu. I mean, Piper's pit up, that utility already exhausted as well from the Killjoy. Yes, there's eco shots raining down from above. Yes, there's some Stinger spray in the mix that finds Zanzi. But even then, a 2v3 now. Lil Smoot collects a bigger weapon, so maybe a window of opportunity here.
You should run.
But oh, again, look at the lockdown. Beautifully timed. I mean, your wingman doesn't get detained. It's not really planned for the yellow players. I mean, they're just gonna stick it all the way through. Wingman, no!
You know, I never thought I'd say this, but maybe we should have body blocked for the wingman.
You know, we talked about all the first half. We're like, wingman, they put their life on the line so a human doesn't die. That time we were like, no, human, death, need it. Wingman needs to defuse, and especially when they're the only one immune from a lockdown. But I agree with you. Very, I would say, interesting second half there after the momentum and the dominance, I would say, that was shown out of Utah State University on their map pick, mind you, nerdy. Nevada just stole it away.
Well, if they stick with the same comp they had this time, perhaps it'll be a little bit more in their favor. I mean, we are going to a
Yeah.
3-point map. We're going to Lotus for anyone that's just joining us here between University of Nevada, Reno and Utah State University. So, Utah, maybe it's your turn to steal it back on Lotus.
I'm sorry, my expression is because I just got the stats from that last matchup. And you know how I was like, I feel like Samuel might have shined with the first bloods, right? They
Mm-hmm.
had 10. The next closest was 4 from Tram. That is an insane performance from them on this map. I mean, I know that they played the duelist for this squad, but that is like textbook. You put your life on the line, high risk, high reward. But regardless, like you said, nerdy, right? They changed the composition, so obviously they kind of found their groove about using this composition for the attack. They just need to dial in how they use it for that defense moving forward in the Mountain West Conference.
Well, hopefully they do, because I mean, technically speaking, it is still a best of 3, and so Reno is already is at series point in this
Yeah,
next game.
and it's their map
Can
pick.
it's like, can you surmount the beast that has also taken the map that you chose first and foremost, and this is now their pick, meaning they're comfortable, they have a comp, they have a strategy, whereas you might have not felt the same. And just so we can fill everyone else in here, Utah chose to ban Ascent out the gate, and Nevada banned Breeze, which to me, I was like, okay, so you don't want to go for the long range fights, but then I'm looking at
Yeah.
how their duelists are fighting, and I'm like, you totally could have just gone Breeze. I mean, I have no qualms with not seeing Breeze today, and I know you have no qualms with not seeing Ascent,
Yeah.
but I feel like Lotus for the double duelist comp isn't as friendly as it is on those 2 maps.
Which is ironic, actually, because University of Nevada, Reno, last week did play a double duelist composition, actually. They ran a Reyna Raze combination. Do you want to guess who played which?
I don't even want to. No, I don't want to.
Okay, okay.
Who played which?
Well, how about we save that for the break? We'll leave that teaser for you guys so that you come back to see map 2 of Lotus between University of Nevada, Reno and Utah State University. So we'll be back to see who takes it.
should run.
Welcome back to our Mountain West Conference broadcast for Valorant. It is currently University of Nevada, Reno taking on Utah State University. And before we jumped into break, you teased about a composition that we have yet to see coming out from UNR regarding their double duelists. And can you shed a little bit of light on that for me? Because I'm curious.
I absolutely will. If you loved Samu on the First Blood machine and you love the aggression that was being shown by UNR, you will love to hear that they are reprising their role in a duelist, but they are taking AJ's shine of the Reyna and swapping over to that role themselves, assuming they reprise that role, that is. Versus AJ will be flexing over to the Raze to play that more traditional duelist. But Nerdy, the compositional interestingness doesn't even stop there. Because who do you think what Sentinel do you think they play?
I don't...
Like, looking at Blobster and how they played on Icebox.
I mean, I would assume that Lobster would just reprise KJ. I mean, it's Lotus.
You'd assume. But think about how eager they were to take fights. Any other agent might come to mind off that? You know, maybe one that was recently buffed?
I did not look at the patch notes. Who is it?
Chamber. Ooh.
My Frenchman is coming out.
We beget make him to play here in this matchup, but if they change their composition, if they pull a USU after their success on this map week 1, I will cry. I mean, they buffed his Torted Fours, might as well.
Oh, okay. So in the back,
can I get fan art of them just holding a baguette and baguette?
I mean, okay. I like Chamber, but there it is, a little smoot on Chamber.
Yeah, wait, a little smoot on Chamber. That's actually interesting.
Blobster
because
on Chamber.
Yeah, okay, Blobster. We might get a Chamber duel, but I'm more interested in the Harbor pick. But we'll get back to that because Little Smoot did play the Reyna on Icebox last week. If you saw that little like 15-second stinger intro that we had, the little like trailer for the Mountain West Conference. But regardless, Nevada Reno picking up what they knew from last week. Well, what else do you make of the Utah State University team comp?
McWort is now popping it on the Gecko. I am getting more and more confused. I mean, I totally understand that the agent pools and adaptability of collegiate players, and if you talk to most people who play collegiate, according to them, though I don't believe this through and through, to some teams I definitely know for a fact, they never are actually playing their comfort or playing the agent role they typically are. They're forced onto a different role and everyone's kind of like filling, and then as someone graduates or leaves the team, the next person in gets to fill, and then finally it's your turn to play the role that you actually enjoy playing. So I'm not shocked we see some shifting around of these roles. I'm excited to see the possibility of a Chamber v Chamber duel. I mean, I like the opportunity to hold a very aggressive, sometimes risky positioning and then use their own Davis to get out. However, it really comes down to that moment of, is your reaction time fast enough? Are you going to get popped or are you going to find the head first? And also beyond that, the Harbor pick, can you fill me in here? Because I'm not used to seeing Harbor here.
I'm not used to seeing it either on Lotus. I feel like when Lotus first came out, like, we kind of would see it once in a while. I do feel like it could work in combination with the Wingman, right? We saw Wingman consistently getting shut down, but if they're in a cove, Wingman plant for the win. But you asked if Little Smoot would have the reaction time, and them finding the first blood out of Samu is a sight for sore eyes, considering how they were the one dishing them up over on Icebox. Not only did they get that initial frag, but UNR doesn't slow the pace down at all. They continue their escapade onto the C site, take it beautifully with the Wingman plant from Axel, and just like that, it's gonna be a 5% retake from USU.
Well, I mean, AJ dropped the Roomba, cleared the angle. They said, let's go. They hit the gas, but there's another headhunter kill. It's Sprite Flow with that Harbor who's going to be eliminated as well. It's Tram on the raise this time as opposed to the Deadlock. Gonna use Blast Pack, clear another angle. We see Dizzy being used as well. Uses the other Blast Pack to clear another angle. Everyone is shoehorned into one spot. This could be risky.
Wingman, but Wingman's sticking it through. They have not destroyed the Wingman,
Who's
and
the
Wingman's gonna go all the way! Little bro doesn't fake. Little bro gets to defuse, and I don't even care about the frags after the round. I don't care that Blobster survives in that situation. You don't want to survive in that situation. Now look at your economy, like, is that what you wanted?
Whoops, Blobster. Yikes. You can bring it back. Honestly, USU, historically, at least for what we've seen thus far, typically struggles during our first rounds of either half. When we're in the low buys, you're only using sidearms and some util. They were extremely successful. It was expensive as far as utility goes, but
Yeah.
UNR perhaps saved a little bit more than they should have. See what they make happen here. How expensive can you make this for USU is my question. If you can force util out and get a few picks, it could be huge.
Ooh. And that is a pick and frag of UNR here. It opens up the B site as well, except for the reinforcements arriving through Lincoln. That is a beautiful usage of the trademark in that situation, right? You don't need to concur that someone's there, but the slow ability in the Mosh combo shreds those players upon entry. Completely gets this round back in your favor. Lobster, alive, Headhunter in hand. Gonna try and steal some away here, but I mean, it's a 1v4 and they're not even good for one when a W King McWirt makes quick work of them with some Spectre run and gun.
Okay, initially I thought McWirt was gonna meet the open end of the Headhunter because they started to go forward but then backed off.
Yeah.
And then with the 3-man commit, you knew it over for Blobster. But now we're in that equalized economy, so to speak, round. We have the buy-ups for UNR. We're just gonna bonus the remainder of the weapons. Little Smoot's toying with some ideas right now. Looks like just going with the classic scene if maybe they can pick something up if they are double committing with a fellow teammate. Probably investing a lot into Headhunter bullets, but beyond that, theoretically this favors UNR on this round.
You know, that is one of the other changes that happened, Nerdy, is that the Headhunter bullets are now only, I believe, 100 instead, so a lot cheaper, easier to invest in, so they can get more of them to hopefully, like you said, use it to get a weapon on their side. I do like this early rotation, though, from USU to try and give them as much time as possible, because we've seen from Nevada Reno, they don't like to rotate as much. So here comes the investment, but then again, I mean, we're going to see a Flood-style retake potentially off this Thrash, too. There it is!
Right before Wingman gets eliminated by the paint grenade, manages to stick it. Little Smoot's gonna round the corner. Wingman's going in, trying to flash anybody that is in that area. Actually, no, Wingman goes for the defuse, and there's double cover being provided for our little homie. And with that, the defenders will actually manage to win as well, picking everybody up. And despite the theoretical gun disadvantage that was present, they get to pick up multiple rifles. There's a timeout, finally, from Bread on the side of UNR. I love your name, by the way, but you just made me very hungry. And I think, honestly, this is a good call. 3 rounds in, you haven't found a victory. On your buy-up round, everybody ended up passing away. That's not something you want to have to deal with. You need to rectify what went wrong. And honestly, I think it just came down to the amount of oppression that is present from not only having the Harbor, but also having that Omen and the delayed usage of their util for the retake.
I'm sorry, I have to go back to the name about bread, just because I did make the baguette joke before we jumped in. But I love the early timeout from UNR, right? I mean, we just saw USU take one a little bit too late on Icebox to make a difference. And when you just lost that third round conversion to USU on your map pick, it is looking a little bit dicey. I mean, I love how they're able to leverage that Thrash, because that's what you use these ultimates for when you're in these eco situations, so that you have a little bit of edge when there is nothing else to rely on, when you only have per se. So that gets them the round. It gets them now a solid, I guess, balance in those accounts, even if they lose this round, because as you mentioned, they collected the weapons. Versus on the side of UNR, I'm excited to see what comes out of the timeout. I mean, we're seeing really fragmented buy. I don't think they'll be able to buy next round if they follow through on this.
It looks like some people are recognizing the bank accounts and choosing to sell. They are, thank goodness.
There it is, thank you.
Probably heard me gasping because I got very concerned. We have 2 around the corner, the jump peek. Little Smoot looking for an opportunity to find this elimination is gonna be forced back with the rendezvous after swinging way too wide to get back from into safety with 2 people there. Backing off as paint shells go through and the doors being faked.
Yeah, Blobster on the lurk. Might not check the box position, but they actually get the timing off onto Sprite Float. The frag not following, but even then, they only know they have a headhunter, so confidence to take the exchanges. And this is the changes I wanted to actually see from UNR, right? They've been taking the site effectively, but then it's immediately flipped on its head by USU. This round looking like so far they're appeasing the pressure because of this hold. I'm hoping to see an impact from this Gecko on the flank from McWirt, who shut down that flank play. But, and again, I mean, they've collected the weapons already from the corpses of USU members, and McWirt, that wingman's not really in a position to get on the spike, so they're destroyed as well. And this high-low setup, that's a beautiful way to change the momentum coming out of your timeout, Nerdy.
So the dramatic shift that I actually saw from UNR was positioning post-plant. The first 3 rounds when we saw a spike get planted in those instances, what was happening is they were almost tunneling themselves all into one spot. They weren't claiming space, and also they were engaging as a unit, which isn't always a bad thing. However, it allows for basically for you to be enclosed upon for the retake situation, and instead having someone go for the lurk, go for the off angle, start creating pressure from a different position, gives your team more breathing room, more space, and opportunities to claim said space and prevent the retake. As we see Wall go up and some moves, spray fire through it, and find nothing.
Oh, unfortunate. Like I said, a big factor have been these first bloods for some in previous maps, namely Icebox. And I love that they were that forward player last round on the eco, right? And that's what I want to see out of them here in this half more of. But for now, Little Smoot hunted down by the Thrash. You do have, some support here from McWirt, but how much can they do when they are quite literally the victim of a paranoia? And AJ, saying, I'm a duelist too. I can get these frags for the team when my Reyna is lurking towards B. And just like that, I mean, these are the frags we want to see before Spike even gets planted. And luckily, they're continuing to follow. The last remaining members of USU divided here. They know exactly where AXKZ is. So the power of friendship, the multi-swing for a friendship flawless to come in. And UNR is right back in this, Nerdy.
Oh my heart just goes out to Chamber in that moment, getting thrashed, dizzied, and paranoid. If that is not a Valorant experience moment, I don't know what is. The amount of util dumped on your head, you knew you were doomed from that moment onward. I am so sorry. However, your team's only leading by 1. Get used to it, because it's probably gonna happen again. The rendezvous, I thought the rendezvous would get you out of the Thrasher, but it ended up not working out, and they were bloodthirsty. Yeah. They're going bloodthirsty again, rushing towards this C site. The only one lurking is Reyna, and I don't think Reyna's gonna go down to Chamber unless I just cursed it.
I mean, our producer was explaining these teams as scrappy, and I want to take that and say that it's a scrappy confidence. I mean, look at this. Showstopper from AJ doesn't even check behind them because they know their team members have their back there. McWirt taken out of the picture. Unfortunately, AJ not able to send the rocket any other direction, but even then, it's actually kind of reservation from USU here, expecting that maybe push up, maybe not recognizing the rocket was used on site as well, so the scare tactic buying a little bit of time in UNR's favor, but regardless, Nerdy, it is an eco round. Do you see the showstopper used for USU to put them back into this?
I mean, if you can get some confirmed information regarding someone's position, but instead we're just going to blast pack in anyway, and so there is no opportunity to initiate with the showstopper. I was going to say, if you can figure out where they are, go for it, but instead we're just going to pass away instantly. 2 left standing. I think, honestly, these 2 get out. You try to keep your weapons, but unfortunately, Omen...
It's a save.
Yeah, save, run away. I think they should be okay.
A little smooch died a spike. They didn't have a weapon. I mean, other one with a Guardian might be worth the investment, but they'd rather try and steal a rifle away here. Main, and neither are going to come into fruition. There it is, finally, AJ. All right, they're the one to fall. Even then, though,
I don't think AJ was that worried about dying.
I don't think so either. I mean, look at the money that they got. It is A-okay. I mean, even the Guardian, I feel like getting saved is fine on a map like this, especially when you have AXKZ. I was going to say, hopefully playing towards A, playing for these longer angles, but instead here being on the B site. But 3 ults versus 2. I mean, you mentioned that you wanted to see more information before that showstopper was collected, but the only information they have is from the Gecko Dizzy, and McCourt was dead at that point. So we really need to see contact-based plays from this team. I mean, I'm always like, whenever I play Valorant, I'm like, no, you're on the defense, never go aggressive. But that might be what this composition, what this team needs when they don't have a stable Sentinel.
I mean, there's a reason why my teammates hate me in Valorant, and it's because I don't care. I'm gonna go forward and get you information if I have to, if my duelist is not willing to do it themselves. So if Samu getting the experience we saw earlier for Chamber, that was a lot of unfortunate util. We do still have Empress online. We also we still have this showstopper. I want to see a double kill with the showstopper that is not I accidentally killed myself in the process. And as
Paint shell kill. Paint shell kill.
Yeah, Paint shell got one. Tram did pass away in that moment, and Sprite Float goes down. Samu goes down. It's 2v2.
Well, they're just trying to play time in this situation. But the crunch from McWork comes in good for both frags. AXKZ, the perfect bait in that situation. And the defuse not far to follow. Yes, Tram falls early, but McWork, the hero that we needed. And, I mean, again, I want to go back to the fact that McWork, yes, they feel like the KO on Ascent, and yes, they played the KO on Icebox, but I want to see McWork back on the duelist. I'm not going to lie to you. I feel like if they ran a double duelist composition like what UNR is doing, it would work really, really well for them, considering they played Jet on Icebox. And I think, if I remember correctly, fragged pretty well on it as well. But for now, you want to see USU Ultimates with them having 4 out of 5. It's got to be sooner rather than later. And there it is, the tour de force from Lil Smoot. But they're immediately smoked out, Nerdy.
Yeah. I'm a little saddened by that, but I mean, oh yeah, you might want to back away a little, Smoot. We don't want a repeat of what we had a couple rounds ago. Doesn't get spotted by Roomba.
No! They had the window of opportunity, but they heard the reload there from the Gecko and were more focused on McWort than the real opponent. Samu going aggressive, being this forward presence like I asked them a few rounds prior, and it's working out textbook in their favor. They still haven't even used the dismiss to get out of dodge. They're going for the quad for AXKZ, and as they enter the dark cover, they enter the afterlife. A flawless off of Samu's 4K, and we are tied here. Nerdy at 4-4.
All right. At this point, honestly, I think I would have expected USU to in turn also call a timeout because they were doing great, and then all of a sudden, no. That one timeout was pivotal for UNR. We still have Tour de Force. We have From the Shadows online. We see Gecko with Thrashers. We still have this heckin'... Oh, wait. Yeah, we still have Showstopper. Are we going to use it here that we're on more of a save round?
I mean, but Tram is just dying so soon into these retakes, and I mean, we need to see a difference in, I feel like, that element or that aspect before we can see a true showstopper usage. I do like this trap play that they're trying to set up off the Omen Paranoia, but even then, they're not really in a position to punish UNR off of it. But what is this? On the verge of the trademark, playing around the Cascade is a Bucky, lying in waiting. We've seen them do damage with it before, but this time, only good for one, and as Samu on their lurk finds another, UNR not going to be in too prickly of a situation, unless, hey Tram, they might get their opportunity to use the showstopper, but it would be a hero play to throw their life away. Come on, just do it. Don't think.
All or nothing. The Thrasher's coming out. Just use it. Go for it.
No!
Come on. No!
They can't use it, and now they're the last alive. Okay, wait. AXKZ? Wait, AXKZ?
What?
No!
Now?
Just showstopper!
You know what? I finally got to see it, and it wasn't an accidental 2-for-1 combo. It works. Tram was a little late.
Gets a thrifty. I think that's a great way to use it. It gets thrifty online. It's right after you've been detained and you see AXKZ struggling to shut down that last member. Was a little dicey for a second, but I mean, I feel like you know, Nerdy, I feel like with the number of kills that Tram's gotten with the paint shell alone, I believe we're up to 2 this point, and we're not even done with the half. I think holding on to the showstopper is okay.
Yeah, I was a little shocked to see the detain go off, and then instantly we see Gecko also get eliminated from the paint shell. I'm just like, wow, you're very good with your map geometry in these instances, or these people are just not looking at the ground. And now we have Little Smoot coming out with the operator, and earlier Little Smoot immediately post dark cover getting evaporating away. Got pot-shotted with the Tour de Force, but now this is an expensive gun to lose if you get eliminated early.
Alright, Simo, if you're gonna aggress here into spawn, I gotta see the Empress come online. And if they've heard me, they're gonna reroute, pop the Empress, and push up, drop. They want a repeat of that 4K they got prior. This time they would be on par for the ace, but then again, the Reckoning gonna give early indicator of this forward position. An amazing, though I can't tell if it was Lear or Paranoia, but a near sight regardless saves them from the thrash, but does not save them from an early demise. A 2v2 unfolding off of AJ's hero play here. With 2 players divided though for UNR. A great time for USU, but AJ again delivering frags when needed. A 1v1 time HP not in USU's favor as Zanzi has to go big for the clutch. There it is.
Oh! Unfortunately, Lil Smoot, the crosshair placement was not in your favor. Also, Lil Smoot dropped an operator somewhere on the map after going on one heck of a lurk near C site, taking out one player very early before we even had spike down, and then rotated all the way back through defender spawn to get to the A high ground. That is a tragic situation to be in. I don't know if the $6 grand was worth it in this instance. Now you get a classic. And your headhunter, of course. Oh, okay, Blobster with the Tour de Force. Are we gonna see some actual operator kills on screen from Blobster? I would love to.
I think they recognize this could be a half buyer Nico situation, so no investment. I like how they've learned as well to counter Little Smoot with the headhunter, because they have gotten away with some nasty first bloods in that regard. But now here's the true raise that we want to see. No hesitation and entry into sight. Even if they cannot find a frag, they find the scare element. But you know what is really scary? AXKZ with the Guardian gets to and dips back to Waterfall. Unscathed, unpunished here to keep things on a 3-on-3. And I mean, you can see the response there, right? That we have an immediate rotation back from Blobster recognizing, all right, I cannot lurk in this situation. They can't hold on to this site long enough for now.
From the shadows used just to get information, I was in the back of my mind, I was like, yeah, most likely an information ultimate moment for Omen, and that's indeed what it was. The Cascade's going out to try and block some information.
Bucky? Code? Oh!
Oh! Bucky Gaming.
There's not a lot of time, though. And I don't think they had a wingman, because it hasn't been sent out. It's actually the defuse getting stuck by AXKZ. Even with wingman on the spike, there's not going to be enough time. Blobster recognizing this, tries to flee, but everybody falls to the spike. And just like that, UNR reaches that 6th round, securing a tied half after a rocky start. The question is, Nerdy, does USU respond in kind, and are we going to be tied?
Look, they need to find a way to buy up as much as possible at this moment. Tram, unfortunately, cannot commit to full shield. I mean, you take a headshot from a Vandal, you die either way. So, is it really worth it? Is it really that bad of a situation to be in? Especially when Tram's been great with these paint grenades. Maybe just opt for those in the half shield is what we end up going with here. I think we have the potential to see this tie out at a 2-2, but UNR with the Tour de Force plus from the shadows for information. Very big as we have Tour de Force come out. You heard the Let's Play line. No, I don't want to. Chambers scare me, but the Boombots over here on Seasite, our former graveyard, both eliminate each other.
Yeah. This is the first time I feel like we haven't seen a follow-through on a site execution from UNR. I was kind of hoping to see like a double satcheling AJ in while the spike was headed towards A site, and it's kind of what they are doing by staying C, but they need to show a presence here because you can already see the rotation, the lean from USU over towards this A site, and then out of UQ and the Thrash coming in. They don't avoid it from the high tide, literally saving Blobster's life as they were swapping between the rifle and the Tour de Force. So they get to live to fight another day. They're going to live to take the A site and get the plant down from the wingman. Question is, what is the retaliation from USU when, as you mentioned, they have no ultimates to lean into?
I mean, it's crosshair placement, mind games, and using what utility you have to the best of your advantage. They did manage to finally take out that Thrasher. Mosh Pit's going to be used. AXKZ is unfortunately eliminated. Mosh Pit is going to finally time out. Zanzi with the 3K and Blobster with the Tour de Force gets the closing kill. That brings us to 5-7 as we enter the second half here. Just a reminder, UNR is at series point. If they win this one, we're done and dusted for it. However, if USU pulls us back in their favor, we'll end up being tied and move on to split. Kind of our dark horse map for these two teams.
No, but I feel like some of the adjustments that were coming out of USU there were just a little bit too late in the half. Like I said, they started being a little bit more aggressive. They started taking these fights, mainly Sprite Float, even though they are at the bottom of the leaderboard. I feel like those initial picks with the Bucky, for example, were pretty clean, I would say, on the sites. But regardless, other players, AXKZ, McWirt, you know, when they get those initial first bloods, it does kind of put them in a good situation. But then again, look at Tram, right? They were the top rank for the team on Icebox, regardless of them not taking that map. And they're just getting shut down here by the UNR squad. So this is the half I need to see them come on line, and it looks like they're trying to be that force for this team as they guide the path. They're kind of like follow the leader style towards A, right into Samu, the first blood master.
Well, the dark cover is going to be used to try and bypass Samu. You see an entire clip dumped at it, did not get any hit indicators. It's dumping at another clip. So they're fully aware there's someone standing right here. The question is, are they aware that there's another person right to Samu's left? We see the disengagement, and it's just Harbor lurking near A site. Similar to what we saw earlier, you need to make your presence known in some capacity to give your team the opportunity to engage on C. Perhaps we'll have better timing than we saw earlier, and Harbor is going... Oh!
Dizzy! They don't decide to invest in. They're actually going to fall back. But, I mean, a Sprite Float taken out by AJ means A is no longer an option. They had to commit into C. There's the Dizzy. And Blobster not actually rendezvousing out until they can take at least one shot. Does not land, but has bought enough time for the rest of the squad to rotate over. The Paranoia mistimed, thinking the commitment from USU was to follow. So now it's a mad dash towards the opposite site. Lil Smoot not kind of braving the trademark, still able to find a frag onto Axel, somewhat overstepping there on the rotation. Now you can even see kind of a UNR hesitancy here. Not knowing this is a B, not knowing this is A, time low as well, and I don't think they're going to have a utility to contest this plant from Wingman.
Wingman is perfectly safe. Gets the plant confirmed for their squad. AXKZ is going to teleport over towards tree. We're also going to opt to just break down the door outside of B site. However, Samalu is going to get pot-shotted, ghost shot to the head from Little Smoot, and then Rendezvous is out. AJ drops down, makes a decent amount of noise. Dizzy also going to be taken out from... It's a risky situation to try to reclaim Dizzy,
Pros
but
don't fake, pros
AJ's
don't fake.
not going to fake it. You ain't faking it. I mean, you've got multiple people in front of you, and they all fall one at a time and didn't swing together.
I mean, yeah, if Tram's gonna deliver. They heard me. They're like, all right, I'll step up. I'll start getting some frags. I mean, already, you know, multiplying their kills by 1.5 there with that 2K. So, great way to get that started, especially when, you know, like you said, solo player after solo player was swinging from UNR. Definitely have to have somebody to punish that kind of behavior. But now, the buy coming in. Guardians, Bulldogs love to see it, so it'll make that third round conversion hopefully powerful enough. But even then, a little bit heavier of an investment from the UNR squad, namely this Bucky and these Deagles. So we'll see what they can do here, especially when Samu is the one aggressing. But Tram, again, shuts down the first Blood Demon at the cost of their shield and a lot of HP.
I think it was worth it. However, the question is, now that you're this low, you can't really be the initiator for your team unless you're just planning to walk in and die and give UNR equal numbers. With that in mind, perhaps we have to rely on this Gecko utility when we're walking into site, slowly trying to decide, are we going to rotate back towards C? Are we going to commit towards A site? I think B site's definitely not the way we want to go at this point, but perhaps I'll be completely wrong and we see a B site commit as they're encroaching on where this chamber is currently standing. Most likely be able to rendezvous out, but is going to be able to tell their team. No way.
They've got to be a good one, but the crosshair placement not aligned. A Little Smoot gets the sight line, gets the frag. A huge bullet dodge there. And they're at the corner with a pain shell, not wanting to challenge another shotgun perhaps here. But no, I think they want to go for the C rotation. They were trying to fake them out on this B exec, but I mean, even then, kind of can see UNR knowing since that chamber trademark never destroyed, never utilized, and I mean, 5v2 on par for a flawless if, you know, Tram stays out of harm's way. But no, they want these frags. They're like, eco round? These are going to be mine. Challenging the Dizzy. No push out, actually. Did they not want to give the orbs away? They're kind of headed out of sight on this point.
I mean, if you're Tram, this low of health, and there's dark cover in front of you, do you really want to try and push out of it to go and take down any defenders that could be living on the opposite side of it, or just wait for it to expel?
When you are 2 off from your showstopper, I would say go hunting. But that's exactly, I think, why we're not seeing UNR taking these fights. They don't want to give these weapons over when it is as close to 6-7. And they'd rather just die to the spike in the situation when there's no weapons to be had, when there's no weapons to save. And there it is, the double death to the spike, taking the most frags in the round for themselves. And as we enter the next round, you can see here the efforts or the strength of that bot now coming in full swing. And I mean, we saw the 3K from them. Sorry, the 3 rounds, right, tied together to start out this map, and then there was a timeout from UNR, and they got back on track. I could see something very similar happening this half, Nerdy. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I agree. I'm just getting concerned because USU was the squad to call the timeout on Icebox. I've been sitting here like,
Yeah.
Started strong, things got wonky, you've tied it back up. Maybe now is the time to timeout, take the minute, and be like, okay, why did this work so much? We're not taking the timeout. We're charging forward. Headstrong. Tram's gonna grab that orb. 1 off a Showstopper. It's gonna rotate back with the rest of the team. Looks like it's gonna be a possible A-site commit. UNR has no ults to speak of currently, and I think that's gonna make retaking a little difficult if anyone falls early. But I don't think anyone is posted to get taken out early from our defensive team.
You're saying early, but I think what we're gonna see is Tram get this orb and get that Showstopper into the A site. That's my expectation here. And now that the Rays usually cannot deny the satchel movement, let's see if that investment is what they need to get this 3rd round on the board. And without hesitation, there it is, and it finds Victim Axel on the other side. And now Wingman an unimpeded path to get the plant. And like I said, USU full steam ahead towards this 3rd round bonus conversion. Lobster still alive though. The Reno, Samu still alive. We've seen them get these heroic frags before, and we can see them do it again. I mean, this is the best time when you're down 2 and have the better weapons, arguably.
Zanzi up on the high ground, uses the paranoia. I'm not sure. Actually, no, just uses the dark cover. Actually creates a one-way, dropping down while gunfire happens, so their presence should be unknown, but Sam Wook is gonna go down. McWart finds Blobster, and Zanzi is choosing to just run away and save the Phantom. No shade thrown in this instance. I get it. It's a smart play.
No, I completely agree, right? You've just lost the lead. If you didn't have that hero rifle, you'd be going into a full save the round following, knowing that was your investment based on that 2-round economy normality. And come on, Bread, do it. Cook something up in the oven. Take the next time out. We know you need it. Look at what it did last half. It literally set you on the road to recovery immediately. You tied things and claimed the 7-5 lead before the swap, but looks like they want to play around and have one more round to think, let the players think for themselves. I really wanted the timeout, Nerdy. I'm not gonna lie.
I did too. I'm still also. I was flabbergasted as we saw McWart go down to the spike when they were the brokest person on their team. I was just like, how did everyone but you make it out from the spike? But I digress. AJ going in as Blobster with the headhunter finds a little smooch, some chamber on chamber aggression. Blobster with the better aim. Samu's encroaching onto C site, going very slowly. There is someone. I think it's the Omen. Over towards. Oh, there's a lot of someone's actually. Past
a lot of someone. There's also a lot of someone's on the flank. I really wanted to see Samu play their life there so they could have that kind of double-sided front here on the C side. But I also understand, like you said, Feast or Famine the Reyna needs to hunt for those frags. Unfortunately, they find nothing this go around and starve to death. So a 4-on-4, like I said, the retake. Not aware of how many are there, but AXKZ gets an initial frag, allows now for the reposition off the paranoia, but the Dizzy ensures no frags are to follow, and now when this round to slip away, they run out of bullets. The hero rifle cannot destroy the Thrash, so Now, I mean, your gun, you can't even hand it off to a teammate. It's tied up temporarily. Time is ticking away. You're now at a numbers disadvantage. And the question is, what do you do? And there's a high tide in your face from McWhirr to spray through. Go for the Phantom first, then save. Phantom, get out. Phantom, get out. There it is. I don't think they can make it though. They can't make it. They can't make it.
Yep. They're just feeling like it's going down with me and the spike. All right, so that's now back-to-back both geckos being eliminated by the spike, so we're even as far as that one goes. However, the economy is by no means even at this point. UNR is hurting. You asked us for a theoretical timeout last round. At this point, 9-7. We're close, but close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. It's time to call that timeout. Take a minute. Just give your team a full minute to reconvene. Even if it isn't talking new strat, it's just breathing.
I think they're gonna, if they take a timeout, it'll be next round, just because the coaches tend to like to have, an eco strategy discussion for maybe that thrifty round, so you can get that kind of momentum shift firmly in your favor instead of a one-off victory off of a bye like we're probably gonna see this round. Even then though, right, if UNR wins this round, I'm trying to think if they would still want the timeout or not, because the eco will still be fine for USU in that situation. I mean, we saw it, most of them at maximum funds, but I haven't really seen too much of a change from this defensive approach. They kind of aggress in one extremity, leave one deserted. This time B the source of that aggression, B main specifically, and then the stacks on A. So they're correct reads again in favor of UNR, but it feels like the frags just go in USU's favor time and time again.
I also want the Lobster, unfortunately, going down first. Axel Shredder will find McWhirr in exchange. But we have AX, Sprite, and Tram all finding eliminations in rapid succession. It's just Omen left standing. And the one thing I was going to say is, UNR, their positioning for the defense, they created like a wall where they could shift left or right. They could get information from sound cues. It's just not working as we have Sprite go down to Zanzi, getting that crosshair placement. Yeah. I mean,
you just save. Yeah.
Again? Yeah. That's the only option.
What can you do with 5 HP? I mean, there's a dark cover up. They're just going to spray you down.
Mm-hmm. All right, now oh, no. Don't go too far into your own spawn. There's a Raze who's staring down the angle. Okay, they're looking back towards Spike. You're fine.
I mean, I could see them sending a hunting party out. They have plenty of funds to fund that expedition. But, they want to go for the safe route. Ensure that, just like last round, or last half, I should say, fell apart, that there's not a similar, development after a timeout. And but I was about to say, KZ, playing with fire a little bit, but they're going to be fine. They keep their rifles. They get the double digits. And, I mean, it's at least nice. There's no ultimates right now on the table to work with, but we're getting close to that point in this half.
I'm shocked UNR is not opting for that timeout. We do have Zanny still with the Phantom. We have Blobster buying up to get the Vandal. It looks like we are committing as much as we can, unless you're AJ, who's opting to, I think, look just to be an entry for their team. Double blast pack in, like we've seen notoriously from them. Well, to get information. As far as no, they are committing. Full swinging together, gonna pick up weapons. I mean, AJ, I thought I'd see you blast packing in, but you didn't. You chose to swing with your squad. I get it, and it was the safer play in that instance. They're up one, and they have a better gun, but Lobster picks up two, picks up one off the ace. Only AJ hadn't got that first pick.
I mean, you don't need a timeout if someone's just gonna come in and frag for the squad and eco round like that. Okay, I mean, I was about to say maybe they're not taking the timeout because the coach liked what they were hearing about this eco strategy that was coming in, namely that A main aggression. And I mean, it looks like I could see a repeat of it happening here with the players that are currently seasoned on A. But then again, USU seems like they're willing to take that gamble. They're like, there's no way they do it again, right? And they're gonna do it again.
Oh, the Cascades used, Dizzy's used, Lear's out, double Lear, mosh pit. Oh gosh.
Oh, they needed the frag though on AXKZ, and without any bullets, they're forced to default to the Stinger, and that doesn't get the job done. So what started out as a strength is a lot of space taken off that double molly. It just crumbles into a numbers disadvantage. But then again, these are the two players that completely shut out that site execution last round. So I could see a repeat. Blobster, right, could still be riding the high of that 4K. So can they deliver a really desperately needed round for UNR?
Blobster just got marked by trademark. So Lil Smoot knew Blobster was there, at least someone. And it happened to be Chamber. And Zanzi, you might be the last player standing and might be able to make it out alive again with this Vandal. This Vandal and Zanzi living has been, I think, a bit of a crutch save as far as economy goes, but I curse it as I talk about it.
But say it's been the only common thread I feel like in this match, but that even now dashed away. That even now changed here as the lead for USU grows into 3, and we finally see some key ultimates coming out to play. So, I mean, Tour de Force is going to bail them out off of that 4K as well for Blobster to lean into so they can get some weapons for their rest of their team. Samua as well, having a relatively quiet game compared to the 10 First Bloods on Icebox, going to have that Empress to lean into. My only concern here is that they have some aggressive side take ultimates, namely this Reckoning for the side of Utah State, and we'll see what happens when they bring them now aggressively into the C site where there is only one member home.
There's the Reckoning coming online. We also technically have From the Shadows if we need to get extra information.
Yeah.
But Lil Smoot, who's lurking here outside of B, gets 1,
No.
gets 2! Wingman getting all the support in the world to confirm the plant. That's what we love to see.
Oh, yeah. And USU, right? They have the Showstopper online, so they're just going to invest. That fancy movement from the satchel. Yes, spares their life temporarily, but it just gives Lil Smoot more padding to their KDA. And you think we're trying to give them the 4K, and that's not going to fly. And it's AXKZ to deliver the Oma Diff, to deliver a map point to Utah State University. And in 4 rounds to trail, ultimates on the board. There's still a chance for UNR, but I'm starting to see split on the horizon, Nerdy.
I think it's there. If I just cast her... Bread!
Oh!
Coming in, calling the timeout for UNR.
It's too late. I feel like it's too late. I feel like it's too late. The bread's not going to rise in time.
Gosh, dang it.
Bread takes time to rise. We know this.
You want to be able to squish it and hear the crust crumble, but know that it is soft and warm on the inside, just like in Ratatouille. That is how you know it's good bread. When you rush it or you put it in the oven too long, well, in this instance, it's burnt. And I think we've got some burnt bread. We can always retry on Split, but being tied to in the series and it's getting late, I don't know what time it is for you.
Almost midnight?
Okay, so it's almost only 10 here. But with that being said, I mean, the eepiness is catching up to me, and everyone is going through midterms right now. So, you know, you wanna wrap it up, so to speak. But at this point, we're seeing Split. I'm calling it now. If I caster curse this in favor of UNR, USU, I'm sorry. I mean, like, I know your Overwatch team really well. I like y'all. Nothing against you, and I apologize. Feel free to call me out on Twitter for the curse.
Well, Blobster is picking up the operator. That's a heavy investment, a heavy change coming out of the timeout. I'm excited to see what it fares since they just used the Tour de Force, since they're the only member without an ultimate, and considering the entire team's aggressing. I mean, I feel like USU has read these aggressions now and learned how to counter them. I mean, look, this is one counter. Just stay in spawn, wait for the flank to come through that you expect to happen on the A site. Fortunately, this time, though, UNR also learned their lesson, right? I mean, Lil Smoot dealt with it accordingly last round. You don't want to give them those frags up again. I mean, you said the college students are sleepy. Lil Smoot is showing that they are not.
No, they have way more caffeine in their system than I do at this moment, but Tram lurked in towards B site. We just heard the dark cover go out, so I think Tram might know that there is someone nearby, but Zandy giving a little dance over to AJ, just posting up, holding still. This is much slower pace than what we got to see earlier, and I'm here for it. You know, change is important. It mixes people up, but we're about to 3-man swing. Is it going to be at the right angles? It's not! Everyone gets mowed down!
And a beautiful shrouded step as well to dismantle that crossfire to ensure that the utility cannot force out a traded frag. And I mean, that's just insult to injury. Zanzi hitting the shot on a McWort through the dark cover. The last to stand is Sprite Float the Harbor in a 1v5 situation. And I mean, I think the biggest win here for UNR, they didn't use a single ultimate. I mean, I might be speaking too soon here, but Spike not even in Sprite Float's possession. I want to see a flawless, please. Paranoia in place. Only 7 bullets for the and Samu. Aww, you're the one with without HP. So is AJ. They're all kind of low here. They're low. And it takes the flanking from Lobster for Zanzi to know exactly where they are for the swing and the 3K. All right. That could have been a lot cleaner, especially when your economy is not righted after just one round, following your timeout. I mean, okay. Maybe this is fast rising bread, right? I mean, I said I wanted to see this timeout when they had 3 in a row. You see what the impact that had on the half last time, bread? Like, come on.
This is my blood pressure is already high enough as is. Got full buys on both sides. UNR's gotta risk it for the biscuit. Yes, I'm gonna keep up with these bread puns as much as possible now at this point. I really hope it works, but that's a lot of audio cues to just tell them, yeah, there's someone here. And plus, we're committing Wingman. They know that there's not only Raze, but there is now also Gecko within the area of exiting this corridor. Once dark cover is gone, maybe just use it as an opportunity to rotate. I don't think it's worth stacking into a small doorway and knowing you're walking into 2. Last time on B site, we walked into 2 and all died.
If somebody swings here, Blobster, I really thought they'd be good for 1, but no response here other than to hold down the fort from USU. Maybe a bomb bot to see if anybody's playing Rebel so they can challenge it accordingly. Yeah, they pushed out here to root a little bit. And the angle, nobody can really see it here for the side of UNR. So the rotation now to the B site. We're going to be asking the Omen here again to deliver. They did it last round with Tram by their side. Can they do it alone here from Link?
Dizzy was used, so I think Zanzi knows.
Oh no, Samu!
Thrasher is spotted Zanzi, but
It's a fake for C though.
yeah, it works. They're going C site. It was a bait and switch. The only person that can really get there as I'm talking, I was gonna say is Gecko, but we're gonna commit the from the shadows. We have a plant not coming from Wingman for once. We also have run the Tour de Force still online as well. And we have from the shadows, but as far as USU goes, you can't really use those unless you're gonna try and like retake off post plant while someone's defusing.
Invest a showstopper UNR. I mean, it's now or never, and there it is. Find the member, and I mean, so much utility was invested. They don't have Mosh, they don't have post-plant utility in this situation. Dark cover blocking allows Zanzi to get to half. Spray's connecting. AXKZ able to break it off, and they're just gonna stick it all the way, and we suddenly will be going into the next round here. 12-10, only 2 rounds separating, and I mean, they're just battling here out for frags at this point, for economy damage, and Zanzi's still able to slip away after that criminal ninja defuse.
It was beautiful. I mean, you called it out. The amount of util that was dumped, you just full commit at that point, and pros don't fake. So far, the only, in my opinion, the most successful defuses we've seen of the day are the ones that someone just walks onto and is like, I am staying and holding this down even if I die while doing it, and it's worked swimmingly. Not to mention they had 2 teammates pushing in front of them to go and create pressure and a defensive wall, so
It was very well played. You know, I mean, I don't know if I want to see USU just gamble and take these fights here, because obviously the defender's going to have the advantage. They've set up these crossfires, these high-low exchanges, but they definitely have cleaned them up since the first execution of them and that over-aggression into spawn, those overzealous kind of flanks too early on. Samu, I feel like I want to see them more in the late round, because the early round, right, they're getting isolated and they're getting shut down. I mean, even here, right, they're pushing out Mound. If Spryful gets this frag, I'm done.
All right, Sprite, get the frag.
Look, they do! But I mean, yeah, that could be the beginning of the end, right? I mean, they take the frags, they cut their losses, and now they rotate as well. Because they know that Samu is that solo player on the seaside. Off this aggression is happening A main every round. AXKZ as well, and early from the shadows, not just for information, but to clear out the site for the squad. I mean, that's another member who has stepped up tooth and nail since Icebox to get this a really promising round on the table for USU.
Spray fire through the high tide doesn't connect anybody from Zanzi. And the one thing I want to point out is, well, this is extremely close. What if it was all just a bait and swap, where it's like UNR was like, oh, Icebox? Okay, that's our map. And then USU was like, oh, you went Lotus? Ah, that's also our map.
You know, taking the opposing team's map pick, definitely a statement. But so is this reckoning, and so is this potential clutch in favor. Axel, another sleeper agent here for the USU squad, but Sprite Float Good to capitalize off of the Reckoning's impact. Good to send us in to map 3 split for this game between University of Nevada, Reno, and Utah State University. Nerdy.
Okay, so now I can maybe. So my hopes were dashed because we were already aware of the comps that were ran on Icebox from these squads, but I feel like the odds of seeing my main. Yes, I'm a Sage player. Big shock to anybody who's listening. It's
I don't
Sage
think we're
and
gonna see
Brimstone.
it.
I
don't think we're
like
like
Sage on Split.
you could think that because they ran the double Sentinel on Icebox, it would be a possibility. But like Tram, obviously they were playing the duelist over on Lotus, and they treat the Deadlock like a duelist on Icebox since they ran a no duelist composition. So, like I said, do I think we're gonna see the double duelist composition come out from the side of Utah State University? No. Do I want to see the double duelist composition from them? Yes. We'll see if they follow suit, but I did like the chamber from Little Smoot, right? They kind of sold me on the fact that I wanted to see them or them or McWirt on that duelist. So we'll see if they take my advice. But what do you think we're gonna see out of University of Nevada, Reno in terms of the composition based on what they just did on Lotus?
Okay, honestly, I do think we'll see a Gecko again. We might see a return actually of the Vipers because we had those on Icebox. I think we'll see a return of the Viper. Opportunity to play Reyna again, of course, is always in the cards. However, the one thing that I'm missing here that I want to see, just because the lack of information gathering is always something that hurts. I feel like why don't we opt for a Cypher here? Just someone to lurk. Place down tripwires, use your cameras, try and figure out where people are at. I mean, the bald man is scary enough as is. I would love to see a Cypher come out, personally, but I don't know if we have anyone that's comfortable on that agent.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the maps that we have played are more KJ or chamber facing maps versus, split behind the typical Cypher maps haven't been brought out by these two squads. So it'll be interesting to see. I completely agree that they're a better anchor agent. That information would definitely help when you have these differing, I guess, initiator picks that are kind of anti-meta. Like you don't have that solid Sova or Fade with the Haunt or the Recon Bolt. But we'll have to wait and see what those compositions are and what the results of this intense Mountain West Conference Week 2 action will bring. So stick around after the break and we will bring it to you as soon as possible.
Hello and welcome back to our Mountain West broadcast. So far we have seen Icebox, and I pray, yes, I'm unmuted, thank goodness. Okay, yes, we've seen Icebox, and we have also seen Lotus. We're tied one aside. UNR has taken a map, USU has taken a map, and so we go to the decider of Split. Now, I got to throw in my semi-schizophrenic options for agent picks for Split. However, Zoe, can you give me your thoughts on this? Just based off of what we've seen, we've had 2 maps of data plus the extra data thus far. Can you give me what you think we might be coming from either of these squads for this map?
I feel like we're going to see Utah State University running a double initiator composition again. You know, the one duelist, kind of similar to what they ran on Lotus, but maybe get rid of the harbor and just replace it with an initiator or yeah, I think we're gonna see Little Smoot back on initiator role. I love them on the chamber, but I think Sprite Float is more that standard initiator player like a Cypher. So that's my prediction for USU. For University of Nevada, Reno, I could see another double duelist composition. Maybe the Reno Rays again, the Omen, the Gecko, and I think maybe they just replace the chamber from Blobster with a Cypher. To be honest, like yes, they wouldn't give them any concrete information, but if Semu gets online again, I think they'll be fine.
Honestly, that comp sounds very good.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we have someone who's comfortable on the Cypher and who's
Hope
willing
so.
to play like the I only get to pop off every now and again, but I'm a very strong tool in your tool belt to get you information, to use the tripwires to make someone's day absolutely horrible. So if we see that, I'll be very happy, and when the bald man comes out, I will be absolutely like just jumping in my seat and excited. But with that being said, I think the teams might be ready. We might be able to actually see the compositions they're going to be picking, because we can guess as much as we want, but at the end of the day, it is up to these 10 players on the virtual field to decide. And once again, it is going to be Split. It is the decider.
Yep, whoever wins this map takes the cake here in week 2, takes the other team's undefeated status from week 1 as well. And, you know, I did say the Omen. Okay, number 1, Samu, why aren't you on a duelist? That's my first, like, question mark. Number 2, though, that does mean they might be that clutch player that I was looking forward to. You are going to see your bald men picks coming out as well, mainly from Blobster and McWhirr, but
they've been mirroring each other. I
was about to say, yeah, it's a mirror comp minus the Astra versus the Omen. And I think, obviously, Nerdy, our first time at casting together, I don't know if I said this over at Aurora Series or not, but I am an Astra stan. I love Astra so much more than the Omen. I understand, you know, Omen more aggressive, the paranoia is useful, but I am a post-plant rat and a lurker. And the Astra kit with that global utility, especially on a B-side exec, when you can be, you know, mid-market here as we go through our flyby over the map and go through vents late and it's planted you for heaven, you swing just as your gravel expires and you get that clutch. It's just, when all the pieces fall into place like that, you cannot tell me it's not the most satisfying thing in the world.
It is, and I mean, like, I would not always push for the Astra over, you know, the Omen. However, I will say, using wall, having visibility and noise, 2 huge indicators, and gathering pieces of information are just off of noise cues. That plus no line of sight on someone, I love it. It is, I hate it when I'm on the receiving end of it, but for a team to be utilizing it in that capacity, to block off, like, say we're gonna be charging through B site, you block off all of heaven with it, it's supreme. I love it.
Yeah. Well, we didn't even get to discuss the sky picks, right? I feel like this is one of the maps that even with the nerfs, say people are still choosing the sky instead of opting for a double initiator pick. I want to point out, we do get Little Smoot back on the duelist, like I was asking for from the, you know, UNR squad. So that's a kind of a, or sorry, from the, from the, I guess, USU squad, because they were fragging out. But for now, the ones really fragging are these Vipers, right? Some violence there in mid. First blood claimed as well, but it doesn't slow down the pace at all from this squad here on ramps, and they're taking the most untraditional route known. 2-man here. From A main to heaven to B site, and they join up beautifully as well with Zanzi there from B main. And I mean, they are. They didn't like that loss on their map pick very much.
There.
All right. Now, post plant situation. I mean, you have versus a 5v3. The benefits of the open pit coming into fruition. You would hope the paranoia to try and get the Lil Smoot out, but it's shut down immediately. And now it all falls to Wickwort in the 1v1. The Cypher diff all on the line, but Blobster's been lurking mid the entire time. So the backstab beautifully timed. And like I said, what is better than a perfect lurk?
I think it's this. Your Cypher is not always gonna have the opportunity to like get the multi kills.
Yeah.
Barring what we just saw. However, the lurking, playing slow, just literally coming in for that final kill, the final blow, or paper cut onto someone who has no health in their health pool, is the strength of Cypher. I feel like on top of the information gathering, and the slow and steady Cypher players, I feel like, are the ones that are most successful, and we definitely just witnessed that in both regards. I mean, McWort came through and said no, and then Blobster came back and said, haha, try again.
I feel like McWort's a really solid solo, like, standalone player. We've seen them on, that on the KO, on the Gecko, and now the Cypher, so them leaning into that, especially when you are expected to be a solo anchor on an opposite site and be that last rotation point, I think it's gonna fit their character well, I guess, in terms of how they play the game. But for now, UNR takes the first round, gets these weapons purchased, going for a little bit more of a standard B split minus Spike, moseying its way over from A main through sewers. And I mean, AXKZ getting dropped that early. That's just going to speed things up for them.
Guiding Light goes through in heaven, goes off, does blind, I think, both people that were up there. We see Float, Tram, both eliminated, a little smooth thereafter. It is once again just Cypher left standing. I don't know how much success they're gonna get.
I'm trying to think about what weapon was dropped by UNR and where it is. I don't think it's recoverable. No, it's there in B main, so only a Frenzy. If it was a Ghost, maybe? Because we saw how clean they were on those shots, but long range like this, they just don't want to donate any additional ult orbs to the UNR cause, it feels like. We'll probably see them filter into B heaven once they hear the spike in its last round before exploding. And there it is. I just hope that we don't see the members for UNR Rap Market to hunt him down.
That would be cruel, and it looks like they're not going to.
Good.
Oh, I might have spoken too soon. No,
they're fine. They're fine. Yeah, safely dies to the spike in this regard. I mean, don't want to hold on to that frenzy. I feel McWort's pain though. I mean, yes, they got the hero clutch. Or they almost got the hero clutch, I should say, last round. But I mean, when the enemy team is not hitting your side as a sentinel on defense, it hurts. It tugs at the heartstrings of you playing that role.
And it looks like they're gonna opt for the B site this time for Cypher, which perhaps will get a little bit more success. But we also have people lurking near A. Oh my goodness. Are you telling me the one time we're on B side is the time they go A? That is when my heart breaks for you.
I would agree, but I do feel like this Cypher lurk towards A is kind of just a standard now on Split, so we'll see. I think the information gathering off this Trailblazer will guide that decision making. And this frag as well, with Sprite Float holding on to Vent's control for now, but I think you're right. I think the egg crunch is coming in unless the players here for USU have something to say about it. Guiding Light not quite connecting. Tram almost abandoning AXKZ, but they deliver the frag, they get the spike down, and oh no. Blobster. Oh, thank you, AXKZ. Thank you.
Wait, the bald man came out in that
Didn't
moment
even need
as well. Who used?
That's a great... It was McWort.
Huh.
I think they were worried, like I said, about where Blobster was. But as soon as I feel like AXKZ got the frag onto them, I'm just like, man, why'd you invest it? Yes, it's the cheapest ultimate at the moment, but phew, I mean, it took a hero play to charge it up the first time.
Oh, this is a nice spot. That goes there.
All right. Alrighty, we got a 5-on-5. I mean, start of the round, that makes sense, but 5-on-5 in terms of the buy up as well. My only kind of red flag here, I did see a judge buy. Where do we think that from Little Smoot is going to come to play?
I mean, typically I see judges lurking near mid by the boxes or in B-site heaven. I'm not positive if Little Smoot's gonna find much action unless they know where someone is at, first and foremost, and then blast pack onto their heads and just judge them to the face. I really don't know if that was worth the investment, because in the end of the day, most likely you want to trade it up for something else, and you're expecting people to come into you. I think it's a risky buy when you're on defense.
Speaking of risky, AJ going out on an island, but still able to come away with the frag onto Sprite Float. So, first blood in their favor. UNR firmly taking control of Heaven, but USU kind of has the reaction primed and ready here. Forces them back with the paint shell, but no kind of forward aggression to reclaim that space. Instead, they're worried about the objective. They're worried about funneling onto this A site. So here comes the second layer of utility potentially out of UNR, right? I mean, you see the fake, I think, no, it's a real investment of the Astra Star. And that frag onto Zanzi forces out the showstopper to quite literally turn the tables on this round. When there's 15 seconds left, it clears out the entirety of the A site, locks down this plant, unless it confirms the round, since it's going to be a 2v3, but don't count the USU players out just yet, unless Axel, amazing backstab. They don't even over-aggress. They don't even overheat. Like, they take what they get and they leave. Respect.
McWhirt's going through screens. I think, yes, it's Axel who's got a sliver of health left and is choosing to stay on Spike. Makes sense. And actually, no, it was AJ. And AJ, 17 health and a dream, gets the headshot and confirms the elimination. That's another round in favor of UNR. I mean, the gap is beginning to show itself. It's not super bad just yet, but USU needs to rectify something. And what do you think that is right now?
They need to shut down AJ. They're like, all right, if I'm gonna be the solo duelist here, I have to take on the Samu First Blood prowess. And they've inherited that energy, and are taking it in stride on this attack. And I mean, I feel like the other thing USU can kind of change, right, is they're using the utility to reclaim space, but then they're not following it up with bodies. They're not following up with frags, right? So I like them trying to take this ramps control, but I mean, Cosmic Divide, not much you can do to contest through that. And it's an uninhabited site here for UNR to take and set up now in the post plant.
There was 2 sites for cages, Cosmic Divide, Viper Wall, all in this space, and I'm like, I think only one of those was needed as we
I love that.
territory.
I love this play. But McWhort? That collat could have changed the outcome of that round, but UNR, that advice was for USU, not you, about claiming space. All right, they're the ones on the defense, but that was definitely unexpected, right? You think you have the comfort, the satisfaction, the security of a Cosmic Divide. You're like, oh, they're not gonna push past their own Cosmic Divide. Psych.
It's all about the mind games, and I love it. I'm here for it. We still have Neural Theft Online and Viper's Pit for UNR. The only thing online for USU is going to be that From the Shadows, which in a retake theoretically could get you some intel. But the fast engage we have from UNR, this blitz style, they're looking to go take Heaven over again, repeat of last time. However, everyone is choosing to evacuate. I think USU is now like saying, okay, it's better that we force you to get info, don't take the early duels, and let's play for the re-engage when they are down utility.
And it's smart, but my concern here is that Trem on an island and now Sandwich supplies the neural theft, will supply the decision-making knowledge to UNR, and that is to overwhelm this solo Cypher. Then again, this is what McWhirt's wants. They want to be in their domain to challenge this when members of the team are coming at them from all angles, and they don't get the angle, the optimal one that they want. Axel Shredder in the worst place possible, unless AJ wants to contest that title here. This aggression to cut off the CT rotations. I mean, every box is checked by UNR at this point. I mean, do you even see the member now? I believe that's Samu rotating through spawn. Like I said, the global Asher utility, they're still helping their team. And AXKZ, you know, is going to at least probably... I want to see AXKZ go for the save and then get hit by... Yeah, look, there it is!
Oh my god. Lucky timing for AX, in my opinion, because I thought they were just gonna be staring down anyone possibly lurking towards screens from Spike, not someone coming from the defensive spawn. They got lucky.
You know, they need to be cut a break. It's understandable. You know, it's getting late. I mean, you're already down 3, now 4 rounds. Let them save the weapon. at least. But then again, I feel like UNR feel like they're taking no. I don't want to say. Wait, I can't even say they're taking no chances. That aggression last round was insane. That trap play. But then even then, right? They invest the pit when they really didn't even need to. With how much like control they had elsewhere on the map, right? AJ in heaven, the flank, completely clearing out all players from anywhere else on the map from Samawu. And you know, Brad may have taken a timeout late last map. McWhort not going to make the same mistakes here for the USU squad. They're trailing by 4. It's still the first half, and here it is. What are they talking about, Nerdy?
Probably the fact that I mean, at the end of the day, not enough people are dying on UNR's side. Axel Shredder, 2 deaths. AJ, 3 deaths. They need to start their defense. They almost had it. The force util disengage, re-engage. I saw it there. The sine wave was being created, and then like halfway through the back off of the util usage, they got taken out. The information was just favoring UNR because they were having to disengage. They're running away. You're being heard. How do you plan to combat that? How are you going to disengage safely, considering when you're disengaging through small corridors, there's things called paint grenades?
I mean, it just feels like USU's scared to take these engagements. I mean, it's understandable, 2 rounds ago when there's a cosmic divide and you don't know what's on the other side. But then they need to be leaning more into Tram, right? They're the one with the Trailblazers. They're the one with the guiding lights to get you that information so you don't have to take the fights. And as you said, the perfect corral utility is that paint shell, but they just throw it without anybody to punish off of it. But regardless, this round's going to be out of pocket, either way, because it's an eco-round strategy, because they have, now a 5-stacked A with the rotation from Tram, and Lobster is going to try and go hunting, but that's a weapon in their favor and a frag. A great way to start out the round. Then again, it's going to be a B hit. A beautiful kind of read from UNR. I want to see the Seekers, post-round, or post-plant, I should say.
Jellyfish. I want to see my angry
They're cabbages, yeah.
I just came off of watching so much of the live-action Avatar. I've heard my cabbages get screamed so many times. Now let me have angry cabbages here in Valorant.
They're not going to give them to you on the eco round for USU, unfortunately, but you'll get the bald man. I mean, Cypher taking off their hat, revealing where these players are so that they can hopefully dismantle them. I mean, the paint shell, wrecking in the high-low. Guiding Light doesn't land here. So that's unfortunate, but they're just trying to overwhelm them with the utility. They really just want to get this ninja defused on the board here. Lil Smooth, the one that picked up the weapon from their trophy off of Blobster, and backstab from Zanzi might not come in time. No, it doesn't. A round stolen out from under the brim of UNR.
Okay,
that's why we take timeouts, people. That's why we take timeouts.
Yeah. The util dump in the corner, the moment when Valorant becomes overstimulating, we had snake bites get dropped, double usage of guiding light from our defender Sky, and then there was a Cypher cage that got dropped, followed up, I think, by a paint grenade as well. And then finally the eliminations happens, and AJ's like, I'm getting pinned down, you know what, going for it. Hits that W key, goes to Spike, gets a double kill, but ends up falling in the crossfire.
Yeah. If they used the cabbages, that would have been a very different outcome.
You're right, they would have known.
But regardless here, now cabbages online for both squads. Ultimate's favoring USU in the economy, getting a second wind as well off of that timeout conversion. But then again, the train that is UNR's aggression not halted. AG as well could get a backstab on this Viper's pit, take it out as a factor. And I mean, with all their attention towards the front hit, they do just that. And A-Site, they're not even worried about the spike plan at this point. I mean, A-Site's pretty much deserted. Other than this Rays and Screens has now been smoked off. They somehow through the Nebula find Samawu. It's a huge frag. Now it's a 3v3.
There's our Seekers, our angry cabbages, both sides of Instant.
Let's go.
We just see them exchanging, saying hello at the mid, high-fiving, and now they know where everyone is basically is. There's 3 people standing, 3 cabbages. Now the question is, do you have enough info? UNR, you're down. You're all kind of getting corralled, though. If your Cypher can catch up and maybe make this rotation safely.
Sprite float. I want to see them faster, but now, I mean, their role is useless here a little bit. Blob's already taken care of. I don't think they recognized that AJ was there from the boombot, but It doesn't matter. They check all their corners. They dot all their I's, cross the T's, and again, this is why we take timeouts. They've turned things around. Now only a 2-round deficit. And I want to see where the economy for UNR is following that loss.
Hopefully not too bad, and as I'm saying
Their
that,
last
it is a little worse for wear. They need to make this work out. The person who's currently the richest is AJ, and committing with the rifle, make it or break it time.
Yeah.
I have faith that they can do it.
They have a
However,
showstopper.
checking out the economy for USU, it's quite a bit healthier, so they can go down this round and still be okay. It's just the only person that might struggle a bit is McWork, considering how much you have to spend on utility per round to be successful. And Blobster inside sewer immediately smoked off by the dark cover. We're seeing some Astra Stars go down as well. AX goes down. We have a 3-man swing. Will Little Smoot live? Little Smoot will not.
Zanzy. Yeah, the hero needed in that situation to shut down this mid-aggression. Sprite Float now going to be placed in a similar situation. And they deliver upon that. Now they have Spike as well. So I want to see the immediate rotation from the rest of the team. And here it comes, but it's met in kind by that of UNR here into Vents and Sprite Float. We'll see if they are the ice cream that'll sink or swim in the beverage. And so far, I mean, they have the support of their team. They have the support of Tram. Snakebite trying to split the attention of these members. And neither really landing, so Spike's still in their control.
Sprite does get flashed, chooses to disengage towards screens, I believe. Yes, actually disengaging, heading towards B site. Has walked through the mid zone. He's gonna walk towards CT. Probably just trying to clear it out to make sure there's no defensive lurkers in this area. Actually, no, is walking back towards screens. Went through mid, walking towards screens now.
Sprite
Interesting.
knows.
Sprite Float thinking ahead of time.
I mean,
Has
yeah.
that friend? Okay, in the exchanges we've had between these two, though, Sprite Float has notoriously gone down first, so I think it's Sprite Float.
The Zanzi's low.
Yeah, it's time for revenge.
And it is delivered with a 3K on the round to say, I am a Stark Viper player too. 1 round now separating these two teams, and as we said, I mean, the timeout at a really good time. I mean, proactively before you've even lost the lead. When looking at the players, and I think one of them had bought up a rifle, they might be forcing this round. Can't quite tell. So we'll see if the coach says no save instead. I mean, you have a few more rounds in this half to go. I mean, there you can see 3 left. So if you waste this now, you only get like an eco and 1 more buy. Versus if you save now, you could get 2 buys potentially in. So we'll see what Bread kind of bestows upon the members of UNR in this situation. I mean, AJ's been sitting on the showstopper for quite a few rounds. I mean, their aggression in itself was enough when they were 13-2, but now they're 13-6, right?
I think honestly, you go for the opportunity to buy twice. It's safer, but go for the save this round. No one is really, except for Samu, close to ultimate. Yes, you mentioned it. AJ has showstopper and has had it for a minute, but
Yeah.
I think saving will be more beneficial, and it looks as though it's going to be a
There it is.
partial save. Yeah, it's better
Pure
than
rifle?
full
No,
committing
there
and
it is.
forcing.
There it is. Safe to save, yeah. Samu the only one that I think might not be able to ground up a save next round, but like I said, their utility is pivotal. I kind of want to see them, get the Cosmo Divide and just full send into this B site. Interestingly enough, McWort is there, but they've split their utility for this mid control. So only the spy cam going to be an indicator of this impending hit, and with this insane Astra utility, clear out back site, it's going to be a avoidant strategy here from USU, knowing they have the better weapons, knowing they can just retake this site hopefully with ease. Oh, but look at this.
I'm having flashbacks when AJ backed up into that corner. We have a double swing into heaven. Samu goes down. No cosmic divide to speak of. Guiding light comes through. AJ gets flashed.
Nice,
Undeterred.
AJ.
Finds the trade and backs off. Is going to survive a little longer.
Oh, and they don't clear out Axel from this drop down corner. Little Smooth finally able to secure the trade, but that aggression from AJ makes these players CT so low, and they are not done. I mean, this is when you see a showstopper, or you want to. Yes, thank you. It is a 2v2 while you're on an eco round. The Strata to step away might just be what AXKZ needs, but no, the close range Vandal unexpected in the dark cover. Blobster likely to fall to the spike, but they die. A hero, the thrifty, well needed to equip them to end this has successfully, at least on a tie, and now they can work towards an advantage.
Sam, what you cooking right now? Okay, there we go. We're buying up Blobster. I can see why you're being forced to just buy half shields. You gotta get everything else. We have Lil Smoot once again with this judge. You asked me earlier how it might work out, and we see them finally in the area I thought we would see this occurring in, and that is B Heaven. That is a spot where you can lurk a little bit more and expect people to come into you more likely, plus you have some natural cover produced, and as I'm saying this, they are disengaging and going towards screens on A site, so obviously I am an idiot.
I mean, you see the Cosmic Divide. I feel like this could have been a read on the side of USU, but instead they've just been bombarded. First Blood stolen away by Axel, sight under their dominion, and I mean, yeah, thank you, AJ. I wasn't gonna be sure of that aggression into screens. I mean, especially when there's a judge lying there, especially when you have a backstab option from Blobster. I thought for a second the Sky heard the jump down, but they don't, so a 2K easy for the pickings there. And just like that, UNR out of that timeout, ship's been righted in. I mean, they're on par for a flawless nerdy.
McWirt has been... I'm sorry, McWirt. I was gonna say you've managed to pop off, you managed to get, you know, some revenge for your teammates when you're last player standing, but unfortunately, yes, that is a flawless round in favor of UNR. They still have Neuro Theft online, they have the opportunity for Seekers to get information. USU will have the From the Shadows. I mean, if USU wants to shake things up a bit, play for the post plant a bit more here, and play more passive, I could see this dark cover actually providing a lot of information. The only concern I have is I don't know if they are going to be baited super easily by this Viper wall. We might have an A commit because we have 2 here and Spike, but we've got also people lingering near Market.
Which is interesting.
Oh, they're trying to fake B site, I think.
Ooh, but Samu caught on an island there. So that's, you know, less smoke, so it does kind of lead into the indication that they'll have to depend on this Viper's wall, but that's been stolen away by Sprite Float too. So now, I mean, suddenly your Spike's on an island if it tries to rotate through sewers. They know that USU has full control over mid, so now it has to be the late round execute and the rotation through spawn, and with AJ getting taken out, I feel like this is such a disjointed hit after your initial plan has failed. Blobster, as a result, can be asked to do the hero's work, knows exactly how many players are here ready to challenge them head on, and the Seekers just further confirmation means they do not want to follow through with this hit. They're going to hopefully beat them on the rotation through mid. You know, Axel quite literally just has to run. Please don't take the spike. You have the spike. Thank you. Let Blobster. Yes, yes, yes. Play the objective.
Oh! And AX gets to trade up the Marshall for, I think, the Vandal now. Axel, what's the plan here? I mean, it's last round. You can make the hero play. If you don't think you can hold this down for the entirety of the Spikes countdown, go for it. But we see the paranoia. They know exactly where you're at. It's do or die. Gets the trade. That's the end of the half. USU, and just for the cherry on top, we have Viper being engaged. That's 5-7 at the end of the half.
No, beautifully, you know, USU not overstepping their bounds there. I mean, like you said, Axel had full utility in that situation, so amazing paranoia from AXKZ just to ensure that the team could barrel into that retake, could lock down a 7-5, and I mean, I do feel like that rebound, like I said, out of the timeout is exactly what UNR needed to right the ship before things got out of their control. I mean, you saw it was a 3-round run that likely would have continued into 4 or 5 if that timeout had not been taken. So they keep the advantage. They swap over to the defense. And now my question for you is, looking at the composition for UNR, I see a more defense-sided composition. What do you see? Did you see a similar sentiment?
I do. I mean, you've got denial of vision from Cypher Cages. You see one, you don't walk. You have denial of vision from the opportunity to put up late walls, but instead we have the wall going through mid. That's fine. And then on top of that, you've got just all the util from Astra, and then you have denial of vision and progression using the guiding lights, plus Trailblazer. There is so much gathering of intel from UNR currently, and just denial of intel for USU that this composition seems absolutely horrifying to go up against.
I completely agree. I was going to point out that Samu with that Astra is like peak for solo holding a site as a controller next to Viper. Versus an Omen, it is a lot harder. You definitely have to frag more. But with Samu at the consistently receiving end of this aggression from this mid push, it is a little worrying as the USU is just barely into the site. Doesn't even a duelist to enter because McWirt is doing the work for them. And with the plant coming through, it'll be a 3v5 retake.
Okay, so I think we might have cursed that first round.
Don't worry about it. It's the first round.
Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I don't feel bad if I'm gonna curse a round. It should be the first of a half for you. With that being said, attempting to retake with 3, not terrible, but they don't know where people are at. And as I'm saying that, Sprite Flow goes down. They forgot to bring the live tape for their friend that can't have milk. And there's USU Tramp finding another. Smoot found one, and now it's just this Viper left standing. The attackers will win out that round. They only lost one, not bad.
Yeah. I mean, nice trigger discipline there from Lil Smoot. And we talked about how we know that the composition for UNR is more defensive, I guess, equipped. But even then, with that comes that USU's composition is more attack equipped, I would say, with this Omen. Specifically that Paranoia. It allows you to kind of prevent, I guess, as reactive of utility usage as you would want to from the members of UNR. And it can help you isolate certain parties as well. So I'm expecting to see that here, you know, some joint action maybe on a ramps take, something to skirt around this defensive Cypher utility that is seasoned on A, but an early paint shell could give the advantage to these shots from the raise from AJ and Heaven. We'll have to see. There's another trip. Wait, that could be Heaven. Yeah, the backstab spiked down. They haven't cleared up Lobster just yet, but a Frenzy long range is not the solution. The 3v2 crumbling into a 1v1. But Zanzi, you know, their classic apparently can hit the shots that Sprite Floats is unable to. And they stumble away with the victory, but I don't even want to call it a victory.
That was laced with a little bit of sass.
I mean, okay, Spriteful, you had like all the time in the world. I think we can dish it out a little.
Dang! All right, okay.
I'll double down. I have to.
the buy-up round in for UNR currently. The gap isn't massive. 2 rounds into the half. Again, probably don't expect a coach to call timeout here. We see the full save coming out. Smart plan for USU. I mean, one person bought shields, but someone's always going to do it. Viper Wall is used. Sprite Float waiting is saying, hey, Raze, you're my initiator. You should go in. You're my duelist. Go in. And we're waiting on to see who makes the first move and ends up in someone's crosshair. It might actually end up being little Smoot here ending up with AJ, but AJ is actually walking away. That could be an opportunity to lurk up towards Heaven, but there is a Cypher over there as well on A site. I think, yes, we're going for a B site commit.
So now 8-6, a little bit slower pace from both of these squads. Samu are going to have the opportunity to hopefully deliver the hype I was giving them in terms of what their utility can accomplish for anchoring on a site alone. I mean, you can see Nebula invested, them able to play up close and personal. But the real efforts are coming from mid here. Poison Cloud to crossover into Vents, but that's crossovers right into AJ. And now the Gravel response forces Sprite Float into a corner. AJ knows and tracks him down accordingly, but not without a trade from McWirt. 2 kind of tunnel visioned in that regard. And now you can see the players for UNR try to defend these weapon upgrades. They know that that can be deadly for them. And here it comes. Nice shot. The concussed secondly, but still better late than never. Zanzi able to grab a few with that Bulldog before Lil Smoot gathers the weapon. Not able to get spiked with 10 seconds left. They just have to go for a save off of that trophy they've gathered.
22 health, just gonna lurk over here by ropes. I understand it. And also, you gotta keep a Vandal. It'll help your team out a little bit. At this point, let's see what the buy plan is. We're full committing for USU. I'm here for it. It was a little expensive for UNR. A little bit more expensive than I'd like it to be. Having 2 people left standing plus 1 of your guns got stolen. It's a little bit of a yeesh moment, and Action Shredder is feeling the side effects of that. Having to go with the Guardian Gaming. The Guardian is still great if you can land your shots. Is opting for the Bulldog instead so they can buy full armor. And beyond that, it's Blobster with the Phantom and half shields. That's the worst buy that we see. We also have McWirt with the half shields. They mirror one another again.
Okay. But think about it, right? They literally thrifted them round 2 of this half. So I think they are warranted to not have as as strong of a buy, since they just technically bonus the collected weapons from the previous round, albeit it was 1. But I do want to point out, UNR is a little bit of a perfectionist squad, alright? They've had 6 flawless rounds this series, while USU has had 0, right? So it's either all in victory for these rounds and dominance, or it crumbles to the ground and USU gets the dub. So we'll see if that kind of attitude, I guess, continues to close out this map. I mean, following the timeout, I definitely want to say that's how they completed the half for that 7-5. But for now, 3 rounds in the advantage. A nice little off angle here from Samu to hopefully distract from AJ's presence, but AJ's getting antsy. They're going searching. They're going to find Sprite Float, and they are going to find their death. Nice little shut down there. Nice little frag stolen away. Please don't swing this. We need a 1-after-1 swing.
Right, just wait.
We know what this does.
Oh. I thought Sprite was in front of that guiding light, but I digress. The bald man is out. We know where everyone is located. If you're USU, we're going to put the cage towards the opposite side of heaven. Someone walks in, you get the audio cues, they get blinded, they can have fun. Axel goes down to Little Smoot, and...
It's 12 seconds.
They can tap. They got time. Yeah, they just have to. You have to commit to it here.
I really wanted to see UNR try something to contest that. I mean, you have Snake Bites, you have a Gravwell. They could have played down the clock, but instead they're in a 3v5 situation for a retake. Now I was going to consider the prospect of saving, but Sprite Float doesn't want that to happen, nor does the Tram. So Blobster 1v5, and they're getting whittled away by a Snake Bite. Vulnerability and all, being forced to take a fight. And I mean, yeah, thank you for saving. Thank you for taking my advice sooner rather than later.
I mean, yeah, it's better to save in this instance.
29 HP and no shield. What did you want from them, nerdy? What did you want?
I mean, I'm that friend in my friend group when we play Valorant. Like, my teammate, who's my best friend, will be like, yo, you know, there's one there, just rotate. And I'm like, but I could kill them. And they're like, but you don't know if there's more than one. And I'm like, okay, you've reasoned with me. I'll engage. So,
Reasoning.
Yeah, I make the bad decisions. And if I'm last player standing, I'm always typically freaking out anyway. Obviously, these players, calm, cool, and collected these instances, make the smart decision. Whereas I'm like, I'm gonna at least take one person down with me.
If I'm going down in style. And I'm hoping we get to see that mentality out of AJ this round, right? I mean, there's some hero rifles on the table, but they themselves are Stinger, Light Shield, and a Showstopper in their back pocket. Bazooka slung around the back. They could be the hero this team needs to lock down that double digits. And we'll see if it comes into fruition. But for now, I mean, again, a very defaulted approach from USU. And I feel like UNR has had a hard time handling that because of the antsiness of some of the players.
Okay, you called UNR perfectionist, but earlier we called USU, I believe, the scrappy confident group, and I think they balance each other out very well.
Yeah.
So now it's like, is that perfectionist gonna be the Achilles heel, or is the undeterred, I don't care, I'm going in style going to be the bane for USU?
Oh. Well, I mean, this round might not be a good indicator because of the buys, but for now, I mean, USU, very clean. I mean, UNR demonstrating some scrappiness with this ultimate, but so does AXKZ with that shrouded step right in to the mayhem. AJ now pinned in a corner, has spike control for now, and they're wary of the repinch coming through. And I mean, a Stinger, you can't take these short range fights. Fortunately, their team actually still holding on to ramps control here, allows them to address one of these fronts. Enables that attention not to be split, enables them to get out towards main, but they at least have temporary safety. They have a temporary weapon collected, but when it is a 2v1, it's gonna be hard, and although Tram is low, they have some of their teammate should be good for the trade, but time, yeah. I mean, do you think AJ could have played time there, or do you think that fight was what needed to happen?
I don't think they could have played time.
I don't think so.
No, but also I'm a bad person to ask for that because I would say don't play time every single time.
Oh no.
Patience, I think, is important. However, you saw how little was left by the time the round ended, clockwise. And so with that in mind, I don't think playing for time was the absolute play to go for.
No, completely. And now, as we move forward, we'll go ahead and see if this comeback for USU continues. I mean, pit for pit online, but I mean, UNR, they haven't really had, like I said, the best raids because of this defaulted approach from USU. They just kind of are winning that war of attrition. They take a frag where they get it and then hit the weaker site. And with that opening first blood, already taking the pit out of the equation here for the mid control, it is no exception. And they expect, like ants attracted to sugar for UNR to react to that and head towards mid, which they were correct with, right? You saw the raise AJ about to rotate into vents, but now they get the audio cue. Now they catch that eagerness, that scrappy rotation from ASU off guard. They even the playing field 4-on-4. They have utility back online to deny this space on A. And look, the paint shot even steals one away.
We still have this Viper's Pit for USU, but they have yet to get in and confirm where they want to get the spike planted. There it is. Viper's Pit online, but there's damage being exchanged. Look, a little chip fire, a little smoot will take down AJ. Spike is confirmed. We have the cover provided for that Viper's Pit, and I think they've got some places by walls that they can even utilize. And there's poison orbs inside of the pit. Best of luck trying to enter this defensive force.
And now, I mean, it's your Astra and your Cypher. They're not equipped for a retake scenario like this. Yes, Lobster takes one down with them, but suddenly a 1v1 on the crux of the end of the round. But I mean, they have both snake bites here. They're going to play down the clock beautifully, and Samwu dancing around it, dances right into Sprite Float's master plan. They're clutch and their 9th round to tie us here up again. I mean, we didn't just go the distance to map 3, but we might go the distance on this map too, Nerdy.
I blame that on our producer. I'm totally kidding. I love you, producer. I don't know. We say that, but look at UNR right now. They're doing the save. I commend it.
Timeout again?
We might. It looks like they don't know what they want to do just yet. But Blobster's going for the Vandal buy. It's worked out in the past.
I do agree with that, but I do think they look, like I said, really lost not knowing how to pin down these defaults from USU. So I would love to see that timeout come out sooner rather than later. But for now, I mean, this could be exactly what UNR needs, right? A more decisive site coming out from USU, sanctioned towards the B site. Yes, we have these lurk players that, excuse me, A, but that's kind of a split go-to. So we'll see if they can keep tabs on how the rotation following through from Utah State.
I love the double mid lurk because USU's looking to go through mid. They heard the jumps. They know there's people. They're just waiting. We are in a save. They're just looking to make it expensive. Boombot goes by. Unfortunately, both go down.
Cabbages, they're out. We're trying to be the confirmation for double digits for Utah State University. Gonna find out Axel here who's ready for the fight. A heaven, but Sprite Float, better weapon, better counter strafes. We'll secure that. Secure the A site. A little bit scary that they don't clear out, you know, elbow or back site, but I guess it's just the confidence that's coming out from the USU squad. Like we said, Scrappy, albeit, and Blobster. That hero rifle we were so expectant of doesn't even get its chance, its opportunity to shine. It just is the crutch to save.
Yeah, just save it. Just save it. I mean, you kind of mess with the economy a little bit being that one person to buy, so if you are a last man standing, you better just save.
All right. Please, Red, please. Your team is starving. They need your guidance. They need your timeout. Take it before it's too late. USU has just shut you down. They've just claimed the lead, and they're even hunting down your player that's trying to save this weapon so fruitfully. Don't take that fight, Blobster. Don't do it.
Just stay there, Blobster.
Yeah.
Don't
do it. No, nice trap wire. Good. It's a nice bait there to keep their weapon alive. And look, they have a buy coming in. Yeah!
Finally!
Nerdy, I'm so conflicted. Like, the caster, the energetic spirit in me is like, thank you for this timeout. It means we're going to have a turnaround. We're going to have a really close game. But it's 1 a.m. for me is like, man, they didn't take that time out. USU would have closed things here and now. I mean, they're on a 4-round run.
Okay, this is like the idea of like a knee-jerk reaction versus like your actual like internal
Logic
conscience speaking. And it's like, you know, where they say like the first thing you think of is what society has taught you, or the second thing you think of is your actual moral compass speaking. And so unfortunately, which one was your second thought in this instance?
I think it was sleep.
Whoopsies. I mean, I don't blame you. Sleep is important, but keep in mind, we're in Mountain Stupid time, and it's only approaching 11 o'clock now, so we've got a little bit before we hit the degen hours where we exist currently in a time zone that apparently some people don't know exists. But I digress. I agree. If this timeout didn't happen, USU had this in the bag. But UNR, I don't know. Maybe the coach walks over and puts like a monster on everyone's desks and goes, I want 5 gulps from everybody. Because they become a different beast every time these timeouts come through. Now they can start pulling it back, but we do have kind of like a non-consistent buy period happening. Ooh. And it looks as though UNR is going what we saw on Lotus. Taking away some of the offensive space early.
You know, I love the grab-well combination here, but the issue is AJ wasn't brave enough to swing, right? Might have been because of that paint shell, but I want to say that was, like, they still would have had a window at least to grab a frag or two. So for now, they just waste all the Ray's enter utility, so although Lil Smoot has a showstopper, no satchels to put them in a position to use it as effectively as they would hope. So, I mean, still 5-on-5. They stalled out the initial aggression, but I feel like the presence here, B main, is just keeping numbers here, while the real follow-through is this sneak up onto A.
Well, Blobster's lurking at ropes on A, so the sneak up might be caught if this Viper commits too soon. Little Sprite, though, not moving. Little inside garage, the 2-1 swing.
They almost lined up.
Look at Blobster be like, oh, I heard someone. I gotta back off.
Oh, Blobster, please look above you! Why don't you look above you? You had like 2 seconds to react, and I mean now, A main control, A control pretty much, I would say, in USU's favor, but then again, if they use this as safe passes, just cage this dark cover, now they flipped it on the screen, so I do like this forced rotation now. They're going to be forced into Zanzi, who we know can deliver these choke point situations, these high-stress situations. And with the paranoia not landing, I just want to... That's when you swing! You have the numbers advantage. You can go huge to deny the spike plant, but you just let the plant happen. They have the... All right,
you
fine,
just
it's fine.
broke
It's fine, Nerdy. Nerdy, it's fine.
I could hear your soul get crushed. What's the plan now? The opportunity arose and faded away quickly, and now we're getting our squad together. We're gonna blast pack in once, try to clear over towards CT from the shadows. Being used to. Oh my goodness!
Thank you.
Okay,
thank you, AJ.
Hang on. I'm pretty sure Omen was in that corner, used from the shadows to, like, you know, spiritually themselves away, but was faking it and came back, and AJ was like, I'm not that stupid, but my friend, in Garage, you would have been so much safer. I don't get it.
AJ has a whole fan club in chat. So
I'm
awesome. Glad they finally got to deliver coming out of that timeout to put a stop to the 4-round madness that Utah State University had brought to the table, had brought to their attack half. And I feel like UNR suddenly is just trying to manage the chaos and is doing so successfully. I mean, I like that contact-based information gathering that they had from that Astra Rays combination B. My concern here now is that they aren't doing it again. Like, I want them to not have these one-off round fixes. I want them to change things at a more consistent level. I mean, yes, you have 4 ultimates to lean into here, but I think it's been the standard default practices that have put you down in this 10-10 instead of the map being over whole.
I second what you're saying, but the devil's advocate inside of me who's speaking is saying, like, you did it once. They probably have a counter strategy, so let's try not to do the same thing 2 times in a row and shake it up, but just... It's not like we're swapping out the ice cream for pie. We're gonna swap it out, you know, chocolate to vanilla in this instance.
But they didn't, right? The chocolate to vanilla swap would have been instead of aggressing B main, you aggress to A main. Instead of having a la mode, they're just having cake now or something. A different dessert all in its own. And that's like the old dessert too, the one you were eating like round after round beforehand. So we'll see though. I mean, they're about to have a full-on dual mid, which is the site for Solareyes. But the guiding light gives USU the advantage, and Tramp gives USU the advantage. I mean, a 3K on the round. Maybe I just send them alone to take these fights, to take the B site. But Samu, they're still here.
They're pincering you. And then I think Zanzi's just gonna opt to save. Is all the way over near A site. Is near safety. Just keep the gun and live. We're too close for you to risk it here and go for the hero play, the exit frags. Just try and stay alive. It's actually rotating over towards attacker's spawn and is gonna lurk near a smoke instead. Yeah, I think this is a safe bet. Just stay far away, stay alive. I don't think anybody from USU is gonna go chasing after you. Maybe the Rays does, but I doubt it.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the Rays might not, because they had the other one with the ultimate online. They'd rather give it to, you know, Tram, who's only 2 off, or even McWhirk, who is 1 off. And those would be great ultimates to launch yourself onto that map point, that series point here. I mean, even if you just split the, I guess, the ultimates as well between this next round and the closeout as well, you could avoid OT entirely. But then again, I mean, UNR's not even dipping into the ultimate pool. These 4 ults, I think, have been there since their timeout.
Sometimes
they have
friends, you just gotta use them.
Just don't think about it. I mean, a Valorant is an FPS at the end of the day. You don't need some, like I said, you don't need some perfectionist master strategy.
But UNR are perfectionists. It can be an Achilles heel, but they've had great execution on some things. But when you're if you're overanalyzing, trying to be too perfect on something, and have the perfect execution onto a site, your golden opportunity, your window to go in will pass you by. We saw that earlier when we were looking at the B site hit from USU on during these offensive rounds, where the Viper just didn't swing and swung way too late. So I understand you want the optimal environment for things to occur, but that's never going to happen. You need to make it happen, and how you do that is being the aggressor.
Have we even seen like a flank attempt out of UNR? I feel like we haven't. Like this round, right? It's a full exec onto A. Yes, you have Cypher utility, but I mean, last half we literally saw just the Vipers disrespecting that for the squad of UNR. But I think this is gonna be the map point for USU. I mean, the showstopper already finding an impactful player there, and
I don't even know how it really got Blobster.
I don't know, but Blobster's not blobbing anymore. So
No.
the Seekers are a great shoe-in here for UNR, finally dipping into this ultimate pool. But even then, look at the rotation of the Toxic screen. It's so well timed to mitigate its effects. So we need the hero play in Zanzi. All right, Zanzi.
Nancy's caught in the reload.
Why are you swinging while you're reloading? And now, I mean, what was a strong start again? Samu, it just crumbles to the ground, and USU's on map point.
Holy McNuggets, it was so good, and then like you ate like you upped the spice a little bit too much and got a little too risky.
All right, well,
Surprise. I mean, you have the Cosmic Divide, you have Viper's Pit, and you have, theoretically, you can get a Neurotheft online if you can get an elimination in a spot where your Cypher can then get the corpse. Samu is going to look to be one of those hero players picking up a rifle. We have 2 rifle buys for UNR currently. I don't know which is which. Possibly it is Cypher with one and then Samu with the other, which would make sense just to make it easier to get those corpses. But either way, this is going to be hard.
I'm like the Devils on Samu and Aegis shoulder right now. Keep pushing. Keep going. Flank through spawn. They're not B main. I mean, you're gonna have such a weak A hold now, and we saw how the A retake was so disjointed last round. It's concerning now that you especially have 2 Stingers and a Deagle, versus last round was at least those weapons. I mean, I feel like the Trailblazer there seeing the Rays too should have been an early indication potentially that was gonna be an A hit. But then again, they're making me eat my words. I was about to say, you know, maybe B main if they go mid to B, then yes, you have this pinch play set up. But no, they're just going back to A. So my point stands.
And we've had Astra and Rays camping inside garage. Sky is still near B main, but can go ropes and can go actually rotate through CT and get over to A site. But we just now had util dropped on A. The Astra Stars are being used. I think the only people that know are going to be the Viper and Cypher. And with how fast Lil Smoot is inside, there's no stopping this squad.
All right, we're gonna take deep breaths before the end of this map. I mean, 3 ultimates to work with here, but then again, like you said, Neural Theft requires that body I mean, just don't think invest the Cosmic Divide here before Blobster takes the solo fight. And now the Neural Theft is off the table. And now your hero player for Zanzi is gone. I mean, this is the this is the Cosmic Divide we needed to see before Blobster was entering. And Sprite Float here is just looking to end things off here. 2v4. AJ, you have Fan Club repping you in. You still cannot give them the outcome they want. Utah State University with the victory, with the reverse sweep to Nerdy Bird.
I mean, they lost on Icebox, their pick.
Yeah.
But then they won on Lotus, and Nevada was like, what is this? And then I couldn't say it better than you, which is these default pushes that were happening, these mid to split, like mid, attack who we can, figure out where they're at, and then go to the site that is weaker after we get that initial pick that was happening from Utah. UNR just could not counteract it. They didn't know how to fix it. The secret sauce was not in the recipe for them. And unfortunately, they end up losing out this series in a 2-1. It's not the worst, though. It was very neck and neck. Some minor changes need to be made. And Bread, you need to insert the coaching sage advice a little bit sooner at some points, because when your team gets that advice from you, they lock in, and we see it like night and day. But it was just
it was so
late.
clean. Like, I mean, like I said, I feel like this could have been closed out in a 2-0 if when we said to take a timeout on Lotus, they had taken that time out. Because we literally would see like these 5-round runs from USU get shut out by these timeouts from Nevada Reno. And the issue is that when they wait for those later timeouts, they don't have as big of an impact to the overall economy flow, the overall ultimate flow of your opponent, like it did for Utah State University when they have this bolstered economy, versus, when it is in these pivotal rounds before it gets out of check. Like, I think, like, for example, the timeout that they had at the half on split was beautiful. It was 5-4. They take the timeout and they end the half 7-5. Like, that was chef's kiss. No pun intended.
I'm hungry. Both. I mean, okay, so both these squads were undefeated as well. I mean,
yes.
At some point, you're gonna have to lose when you are undefeated. That's just the nature of any competitive sport or esport that you're in. If you're going to lose, at least let it be against a team that you went very toe-to-toe against. They set the bar just a little bit higher than you had it set, and now it's your opportunity to climb your way up there. Make sure you VOD review, fix some issues, call in the timeouts a little bit sooner. But all in all, it was a great showing from both squads. It's just somehow the map picks swapped each other around, and there was some serious mind games that got played from these two teams. At the end of the day, it was still some fantastic Valorant, though.
Yeah, no. I mean, praise especially to Utah State University, switching up their comp on Icebox, trying out something new, given that it was their map pick, albeit it doesn't work. They go back to what worked for them on, I guess I should say newer maps that they're introducing to, I guess, their Mountain West Conference, I guess, debuts, and they do work. So they're figuring out what works for them early on. Like we said, this was only week 2, so we have more weeks in action to come here for the Mountain West Conference. But that concludes our time covering it this week, at least. But it does not conclude all the action that Esports U has to bring you. We actually have our next broadcast this Friday. I mean, what else do you have to do on a Friday night than watch Overwatch 2 at 6 p.m. EST from ECC, or ECAC League of Legends following that at 8 p.m. Eastern Time? And, I mean, Nerdy, that was our first time getting to actually cast together, and it was chaotic to say the least, but very, very enjoyable.
Yeah, it was, but at the I mean, we had a team that was just chaos incarnate in the kindest ways possible. So, with that being said, I know it's past 1 a.m. your time, so I think
5
it's okay.
minutes till.
Let's get this going so we can head you off to bed. We'll just say thanks to everyone for joining us here for the Mountain West broadcast. Be sure to tune back into the Esports U channels tomorrow for Overwatch and League of Legends, whichever one is your cup of tea. Take your choice. It'll be very entertaining. But from all of us here at Esports U, have a good evening, get some good rest, and good luck on your midterms.